Why strategic thinking is your ultimate superpower. What if life isn't a series of random events, but a game you can learn to win? Most people are playing checkers, reacting to the next obvious move, living in a constant state of defense. But a select few are playing chess, thinking 5 steps ahead, shaping the board to their will. This isn't just another motivation audiobook. It's your playbook for mastering strategic thinking. It's the ultimate guide on how to think strategically. Designed to transform your approach to problem solving, sharpen your decision-making skills, if you're ready to cultivate a true success mindset and stop just getting by. This is the life strategy you've been searching for. This journey into personal development is designed to give you one core ability, the power to outsmart challenges, no matter how big or small. Consider this your personal self-help audiobook for developing a world-class strategic mindset. It's time to stop being a piece in someone else's game. It's time to learn the rules, see the board, and finally win in life. The pause that creates power. How to outsmart challenges. Now, let me ask you a question. When chaos erupts, sudden crisis at work, an unexpected bill, a sharp word from a loved one, what is your first move? For 99% of people, the answer is to react, to lunge, to speak, to defend. They are swept up in the storm. But what if the storm itself wasn't the real test? What if the real test is what you do in the single second before you respond? 1 second, a brief silent gap between the trigger and your response that is the birthplace of power. It's the hidden arena where you learn to outsmart challenges before they can corner you. This is not about hesitation. It's about intention. It's the foundational move in your life strategy. The very first step in learning how to think strategically. Most of the world runs on autopilot. We are conditioned for speed, rewarded for instant answers, but this frantic pace robs us of our greatest weapon, our mind. An emotional reaction driven by panic, anger, or fear feels powerful in the moment, but it's a cheap imitation of true strength. It's the fool's gold of problem solving. But a person with a strategic mindset plays an entirely different game. They create space, they breathe. In that quiet moment, they elevate their perspective, activating their critical thinking. They don't just see the immediate problem, they see the entire board. Ask questions that the reactive mind would never consider. What is the real game here? What outcome do I truly want? What move sets me up to win in life, not just survive? This minute, this deliberate pause is the master key to developing your decision-making skills under pressure. This is the core of personal development, claiming control over your own responses. When you master the pause, you build unshakable mental toughness. Obstacles no longer dictate your state of mind. You dictate your response to them. This is how you cultivate a true success mindset, one that sees opportunity where others see crisis. You don't just face challenges, you anticipate, navigate, and ultimately, you outsmart challenges by refusing to play by their chaotic rules. So, the next time life throws you a curveball, I want you to remember this. Your power isn't in the speed of your swing, it's in the pause before it. That is where strategic thinking is born. That is where you become the one in control. That is how you win. But how do we forge this space in the heat of the moment? How do we build this fortress of calm when our instincts are screaming for war? You do it by installing a pre-planned emergency protocol for your mind. A simple, powerful framework that becomes your new default reaction. Let's call it the Power Pause Protocol. It consists of 3 simple yet profound questions you ask yourself in that critical gap. First, what is the objective fact? You must strip away the story. The emotional narrative of "he disrespected me" becomes the objective fact. He interrupted me while I was speaking. The panic story of "I'm going to go broke" becomes the fact. I have an unexpected bill of $500. This first step is an act of pure critical thinking. It separates reality from your reaction to it, and in that separation, you find the clarity needed for effective problem solving. Second, what is my desired outcome? This is where strategy takes the wheel. Most people react without any thought for the destination. They just want to release the pressure. But you must ask, in this situation, what do I truly want to achieve? Do you want to win the argument or preserve the relationship? Do you want to vent your anger or find a constructive solution? Defining your desired outcome is a crucial act of planning even on this microscale, provides the North Star that guides your next move. Third, what is the most intelligent path to that outcome? This question activates your higher-level decision-making skills. You have the fact. You have the destination. Now, you choose the vehicle. Is the intelligent path a sharp retort or a calm question? Is it a panicked flurry of activity or a quiet moment of analysis? This is the final step where you choose your move like a chess master. Considering the consequences and positioning yourself for victory, this protocol may feel unnatural at first. Society has trained us to believe that speed equals competence. The person with the fastest answer is often seen as the smartest. But this is an illusion. True leadership isn't about having the fastest answer. It's about having the right answer. And the right answer is rarely found in the frenzy of reaction. Every time you choose the pause, every time you run this protocol, you are doing more than just handling a single situation. You are performing an act of self-improvement, rewiring your brain, strengthening your mental toughness, and carving new neural pathways. You're training yourself to be the calm center of any storm. This is the foundation of a life strategy that doesn't just endure challenges, but actively uses them to grow stronger. In the end, this deliberate pause is not a defensive move. It is the ultimate offensive strategy. It is how you take the power away from the circumstance and place it firmly back in your own hands. You stop being managed by your challenges and start managing them. And that is the secret to how you will, with quiet confidence, outsmart challenges for the rest of your life. Your journey in the art of strategic thinking, audiobook, consider this moment the drawing of a map. Before any great expedition, the explorer studies the terrain, anticipates the challenges, and plots the course. Your journey to mastering strategic thinking is no different. This isn't a passive listen. It's an active transformation. And the Art of Strategic Thinking audiobook is your guide, your compass, and your blueprint for building a life of intention and power. This is more than just a motivation audiobook or another self-help audiobook. It is a complete system for upgrading your mind. We will not just give you inspiring ideas. We will deliver actionable life lessons and practical tools you can implement today. Each chapter is a deliberate step in your personal development designed to build upon the last, forging a new and resilient mindset. Here's the path we will walk together. First, we will lay the foundation by forging your strategic mindset. You will learn to silence the noise of emotional reaction and build the mental toughness required for true clarity. Next, we'll unlock the power of goal setting and planning. You'll discover how to define what you truly want and then reverse engineer the path to achieving goals with precision. This is the heart of any effective life strategy. From there, we will master information. You will hone your critical thinking and problem-solving skills, learning to gather intelligence like a master tactician, ensuring your decision-making is always informed and sharp. We will then expand your vision, teaching you to see the entire board. This is where you develop true leadership perspective, spotting patterns and connections that others miss, giving you the ability to outsmart any challenge. Then, we will delve into the master skills, timing, leverage, and agility. You will learn not just what to do, but when to act, how to get bigger results with less effort, and how to pivot when the world changes course. This is where you learn not just to win in life, but to win big in life. Finally, we'll bring it all together with influence and execution. You will learn the psychology of persuasion and, most importantly, how to turn your brilliant strategy into real-world, tangible results. By the end of this journey, you won't just know how to think strategically, you will embody it, the principles. In this strategic thinking audiobook will become your new default. We'll move through the world not as someone who is subject to circumstances, but as the architect of them. Your transformation begins now. Let's take the first step, but before we do, a crucial word on how to walk this path. Do not treat this experience as a passive lecture. You cannot learn to swim by reading a book about water. This is your mental dojo, your training ground. Get the most out of our time together. I invite you to engage with it actively. When you hear a powerful idea, pause the audio. Think about how it applies to a real challenge in your life right now. Keep a notebook or a file open. Jot down not just the concepts, but the actions they inspire. This is the essence of real self-improvement. Immediate application of knowledge. Commit to this one thing after each chapter. Identify one single idea, one small shift in mindset or behavior, and apply it within the next 24 hours. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it. The momentum you build from these small, consistent actions will be unstoppable. This is how these life lessons become ingrained in your character, not just stored in your memory. This is the difference between knowing the path and walking the path. This journey will challenge you. It will ask you to question your old habits, to dismantle your limiting beliefs, and to build new mental muscles. At times, it will require real mental toughness. But on the other side of that challenge lies a level of clarity, confidence, and control that few ever experience. You will gain the ultimate competitive advantage in every area of your life. So take a deep breath, prepare your mind. The map is in your hands. The destination is clear. The first territory we must conquer is the most important one of all, your own mind, the foundation of everything to come. The game is about to change. Are you ready to play? Developing the strategic mindset. Think before you react. Your greatest power isn't your talent, your wealth, or your connections. It is the small, silent space between what happens to you and what you choose to do next. This is the birthplace of the strategic mindset, the foundation upon which all success is built. Let's be honest. Most of the world lives on a hair trigger. We are wired for reaction and ancient fight-or-flight instinct that served our ancestors well in the wild, but sabotages us in the modern world. An angry email is fired off without thought. A panicked financial decision is made in a moment of fear. Relationship is damaged by a single, impulsive word. This isn't just poor problem solving. It's a surrender of your power. It's allowing the outside world to dictate your internal state and ultimately your destiny. But there is another way, a more powerful way. This is how to think strategically. It's the conscious, deliberate choice to pause, to evaluate, and to act with purpose. It is the fundamental discipline required to win in life. A reactive mind asks, how do I feel right now? A strategic mindset asks, what move best serves my future? Let's be clear, emotions are not the enemy. They are data. They are signals telling you something needs attention. But data doesn't drive the car.
How you do?
The strategist acknowledges the feeling, the anger, the fear, the excitement, and then steps back to analyze it. They ask, is this emotion a reliable guide for my next action? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. Mastering this emotional distance is the cornerstone of elite decision-making skills. It is the filter that separates a costly mistake from a brilliant move. This is not a gift you're born with. It's a muscle you build through conscious practice. It requires mental toughness, the ability to choose the long term. Victory over the short-term comfort of an emotional release. It means training yourself day after day to ask better questions. Before you act, ask yourself, would the person I want to become in 5 years thank me for this choice? This simple question forces you out of the immediate moment and into the realm of strategy. Developing a strategic mindset is more than a tactic. It's an identity upgrade. You are no longer the person who is swept away by chaos. You become the architect of your responses, the calm eye in the center of the storm. This is the first, most critical step on your journey. Master this, and everything else becomes possible. So how do we begin this mastery today? How do we forge this new identity, not just in theory, but in the trenches of our daily lives? We do it with 2 simple, daily disciplines. Think of these not as chores, but as your mental workout, the reps and sets that build your strategic muscle. Discipline 1, the daily debrief. At the end of each day, take 5 minutes, just 5, with a pen and paper or a blank document. Do not treat this as a to-do list for tomorrow. This is a strategic review of today. Ask yourself 3 questions. What was my biggest challenge or trigger today? How did I react in the moment? Be brutally honest. How could I have responded strategically? What would that have looked like? This simple act of self-improvement is incredibly powerful. You are training your brain in a calm state to recognize the difference between reaction and response. You are mentally rehearsing a better way. Over time, this practice shortens the gap. The strategic response you identify in your debrief tonight will become your automatic response in the future. This is how you hardwire a success mindset. Discipline 2, the reframe. Drill. A reactive mind sees a problem and labels it a threat. A strategic mind sees the same problem and labels it a puzzle or a data point. This is not just positive thinking for its own sake. It's a powerful problem-solving technique. Reactive frame. My boss rejected my proposal. This is a disaster. Strategic reframe. My boss gave me feedback on my proposal. This is valuable data on what needs to be improved for it to be accepted. Practice this reframe throughout your day. Every time you feel the sting of a setback, consciously stop and relabel it. This is not about denying reality. It's about choosing your interpretation of it. The threat frame leads to fear and paralysis. The puzzle frame leads to curiosity and action. It's a subtle shift with monumental consequences for your mental toughness. These two disciplines, the daily debrief and the reframe, drill out your training ground. They are how you move strategic thinking from an idea you heard in an audiobook into a living, breathing part of who you are. This is not about becoming a cold, unfeeling robot. It is about becoming a deeply intelligent, emotionally composed, and ruthlessly effective human being. This is the bedrock of your new life strategy. This is how you stop being a pawn in the game of life and start becoming the player who sees the entire board. From emotion to analysis, mastering your decision-making skills, what is the single most expensive thing you will ever own? It's not your house, your car, or your education. It is the cumulative cost of your bad decisions, the ones made in a flash of anger, a wave of fear, or a moment of ego. These are the moments when emotion hijacks your logic. You pay the price for years. This is the cognitive trap where raw feeling overrules clear thought, where instinct sabotages intelligence. But mastering the art of strategic thinking is about breaking this cycle. It is the journey from emotion to analysis. It is the art of mastering your decision-making skills. The goal is not to eliminate emotion. To be human is to feel. The goal is to subordinate emotion to your critical thinking. Think of your mind as a courtroom. Emotion is the passionate, compelling witness, full of vivid testimony. But analysis is the judge calm, impartial, weighing all the evidence before delivering a verdict. A strategist never lets the witness deliver the final ruling. That is the core discipline of leadership, first of yourself, then of others. Here is how you make the shift from the chaos of feeling to the clarity of thought. First, create distance with a single question. When emotion surges, pause and ask, what is actually happening here, separate from my story about it? For example, the emotional story might be, my boss disrespected me in front of the team. The factual analysis is, my boss interrupted me to correct a data point during my presentation. See the difference? One is a narrative that demands a defensive reaction. The other is a fact that allows for strategic problem solving. This question alone is a powerful tool for your personal development. Second, become the strategic observer. Imagine yourself floating above the situation, looking down on it like a general on a hill overlooking a battlefield. From this vantage point, you are detached. You see the whole landscape, not just your own position, but the positions of others. The potential traps, the clear paths forward. This mental exercise builds mental toughness by training you to disconnect from the immediate emotional fray. It is how to think strategically in real time, giving you the perspective needed to craft an effective strategy. Mastering this transition is what a success mindset looks like in action. It is not about being cold or robotic. It's about being ruthlessly effective. It's about ensuring that every move you make is a calculated step toward your goals. It's not an impulsive stumble away from them. The choice is yours in every moment. To be a slave to every passing feeling, or the master of your own intelligent response. One path leads to regret. The other leads to power. So let's arm you with a third. Practical tool to use when the stakes are high and the emotional witness is screaming for your attention. This is the Acts of October 10 rule. It's a powerful framework for injecting long-term analysis into a short-term emotional storm. When faced with a difficult decision, especially one clouded by strong feelings, ask yourself these 3 questions. How will I feel about this decision in 10 minutes? How will I feel about this decision in 10 months? How will I feel about this decision in 10 years? This simple exercise is a powerful antidote to emotional hijacking. The 10-minute question acknowledges the immediate feeling. Firing back that angry email might feel incredibly satisfying for the next 10 minutes. But the 10-month question forces you into the realm of consequences. In 10 months, will that decision have damaged a key professional relationship or created a toxic work environment? And the 10-year question forces you into the realm of legacy. In 10 years, will this decision even matter? Or will it be a forgotten blip that you needlessly escalated? This framework doesn't ignore your emotions, puts them into a broader, more strategic context. It is a core exercise for building a true success mindset because it trains you to weigh immediate gratification against long-term well-being. This is how you think strategically about consequences, and it is a fundamental part of any effective life strategy. Finally, let's talk about building your analytical muscles when you're not under pressure. Just as an athlete trains in the gym, to perform on the field, you must train your analytical mind in times of calm. Practice by deconstructing past decisions. Take a decision you made last week, good or bad, and put it on trial. What was the emotional testimony at the time? What were the objective facts? What were the potential outcomes you considered? What did you miss? This after-action review is a crucial component of self-improvement. It builds your critical thinking abilities and creates a mental library of case studies you can draw upon in the future. Mastering your decision-making skills is not about becoming a different person. It is about becoming the most effective version of yourself. It's about ensuring that the person in the judge's chair is your wisest, most strategic self, not your most fleeting emotional self. When you master this, you don't just avoid costly mistakes, you unlock a new level of precision and power in every area of your life. The power of the long game. Building mental toughness. We live in a world that worships the sprinter, the overnight success, the viral sensation, the quick win. Society celebrates the finish line, but rarely acknowledges the grueling miles that came before. The people who build empires, legacies, and lives of deep fulfillment. They are not sprinters, they're marathon runners. They understand the profound power of the long game. Playing the long game is strategic thinking in its purest form. It's choosing a life strategy over a life of accidents. It is the conscious decision to prioritize your future self over your present impulses. While everyone else is chasing short-term dopamine, hits the next like, the next purchase, it's the next fleeting pleasure. You are quietly building a foundation of stone, but here's the uncomfortable truth. Playing the long game is hard. It demands a rare and powerful quality, mental toughness. Mental toughness is not about being aggressive or emotionless. It's the quiet, internal resilience to endure short-term discomfort for a long-term reward. It is the discipline to study while others party. It is the strength to save while others spend. It is the fortitude to build brick by painstaking brick while others are looking for shortcuts that don't exist. This is the essence of true self-improvement and the engine behind any meaningful personal development. How do you build this muscle? You start by changing your decision-making criteria. Here is a simple, powerful tool to begin today: the future self-test. Before you make any significant choice, pause and ask yourself this one question. Will the person I hope to be in 5 years thank me for doing this? This question is a powerful lever. It instantly shifts your perspective from the immediate to the enduring. It forces you to weigh your actions against your aspirations. That momentary pleasure, that lazy choice, that impulsive comment, does it align with the vision you hold for yourself?
Yes.
This is how to think strategically on a daily basis, embedding a long-term filter into your mindset. A success mindset is not built on grand heroic gestures. It's forged in the thousands small, disciplined choices you make when no one is watching. It's choosing the workout over the snooze button. It's choosing the book over the binge watch. It's choosing the difficult conversation over the comfortable silence. This is the power of the long game. It's not about delaying happiness. It's about building a foundation for a deeper, more resilient kind of success. The sprinter gets a medal. The marathon runner builds a legacy. One is a moment. The other is for life. But how do you sustain this long-term vision when the world around you is constantly pulling you back into the short term? How do you maintain your mental toughness when the immediate rewards are so tempting? You do it by building a strategic support system for your future self. First, you must visualize the destination vividly. A vague idea of a better future is not enough to pull you through present-day discomfort. Your vision must be concrete, emotional, and compelling. Don't just think about having more money. Visualize the freedom it gives you, the security it provides for your family, the experiences it allows. Don't just think about being healthy. Visualize yourself hiking a mountain with ease, playing with your grandchildren without pain, feeling vibrant and energetic every single day. The more real and emotionally charged your long-term vision is, the more power it will have to override your short-term impulses. This is a core part of effective goal setting. Second, you must architect your environment for long-term success. Willpower is a finite resource. Relying on it alone to play the long game is a losing strategy. A master of strategic thinking doesn't just rely on their own discipline. They design an environment that makes disciplined choices easier. If your goal is to save money, automate your savings so the decision is made for you. Unsubscribe from marketing emails that tempt you to spend. If your goal is to eat healthier, don't keep junk food in the house. The battle is won in the grocery store. It's not in your kitchen at 10 p.m. If your goal is to focus on deep work, turn off your phone notifications and use apps that block distracting websites. This is not weakness. This is intelligence you're using. Your present-day planning to protect your future self from your own predictable weaknesses. This is a crucial aspect of any effective life strategy. Third, you must track the process, not just the outcome. The long game can be demoralizing if you only focus on the distant finish line. It can feel like you're not making any progress. To maintain your mental toughness and motivation, you must learn to fall in love with the process and celebrate the small, consistent wins. Instead of being obsessed with losing 30 pounds, celebrate the fact that you completed all your workouts. This week, instead of fixating on writing a whole book, feel a sense of accomplishment for writing your 500 words today. Tracking your adherence to the process provides the consistent positive feedback you need to stay in the game. It proves, too, your brain that you are making progress even when the final outcome is still far away. This is a key part of achieving goals without burning out. Playing the long game is the ultimate act of self-improvement. It is the declaration that you are the author of your life, not just a character reacting to the plot. It is demanding, and it will require you to become a stronger, more disciplined version of yourself. But the rewards of life of purpose, resilience, and deep fulfillment are immeasurable. It's the only game worth playing. Clarity is power. The first step in effective goal setting. Imagine an archer, powerful and poised, with an arrow notched and the bowstring drawn tight. Now put a blindfold on him. All that power, all that potential, where does it go? Nowhere. Or worse, somewhere dangerous. This is how most people navigate their lives, armed with ambition, but blind to their true target. This is the hidden trap where most goal setting fails before it even begins. We are told to dream big, so we come up with vague, foggy wishes. I want to be successful. I want to be happy. I want to make a difference. These are not goals. They're sentiments. They are feel-good illusions that provide no direction, no map, and no power. But you are learning the art of strategic thinking. And the first non-negotiable rule of any effective strategy is this: clarity is power. Clarity is the raw material of a success mindset. It is the bright, unwavering light that burns away the fog of uncertainty. Without it, your planning is just guesswork. Your effort is scattered. You confuse motion with progress, staying busy, but going nowhere. This is the fastest path to burnout and the opposite of a winning life strategy. So how do you find this clarity? You must become an architect of your desires, not just a dreamer of them. You must ask better, sharper questions that go beyond the surface. Forget successful. What does your ideal Tuesday look like? From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. Forget happy. What activities put you in a state of flow, where time seems to disappear? Forget make a difference. Get. If you could solve one specific problem for one specific group of people, what would it be? This is the hard work of personal development that most people skip. They'd rather chase a fuzzy dream than define a concrete reality. Watch how the transformation happens. Vague wish. I want to be in better shape. Clear goal. I will have the energy to play with my kids for an hour without getting winded. To achieve this, I will strength train 3 times a week and walk 10,000 steps daily. See the difference? One is a fleeting thought. The other is a target you can aim at. It is a plan you can execute. This is the only way of achieving goals that actually works. Before you take another step, before you make another plan, stop. Your destination with ruthless precision. Cannot build an empire on a foggy dream. First, you must define the kingdom. But how exactly do you define your kingdom? Especially when you feel pulled in a dozen different directions, or worse, feel you have no direction at all. We will use a powerful exercise, a tool to cut through the noise and find your signal. Let's call it the clarity statement. This is not just goal setting. This is world building. Find a quiet time, take out a piece of paper, or open a new document, and write the answers to the following, as if it has already happened. Imagine it is 3 years from today, and you have achieved a level of success and fulfillment that feels deeply authentic to you. Describe that reality in vivid, present tense detail. Your professional life. What are you doing every day? What kind of impact are you making? What skills have you mastered? Right, I am leading a team that, or I run a business that, gives me the freedom to. Your financial life. What is your financial situation? How does it feel? Are you debt-free? Are you investing confidently? Right. I have a net worth of X, and I feel a sense of peace and security around money. Health and well-being. How do you feel in your body? What is your energy level like? What are your physical capabilities? Right. I am strong enough to. I wake up every morning feeling rested and vibrant. Your relationships. Who are you spending your time with? What is the quality of those connections? Right? My relationships are built on trust and mutual support. I feel seen and valued by. This exercise is designed to do one thing: make your future tangible. It moves your goals from your head to the paper, from an abstract idea to a concrete vision. This level of detail is a core part of your personal development, because it gives your subconscious mind a clear target to aim for. Now let's address the fear that often stops people here. But what if I choose the wrong goal? A strategic mindset understands that this clarity statement is not a permanent tattoo. It is a working hypothesis. It is your best guess from where you stand today of what will bring you fulfillment. The beautiful secret is this: clarity comes from engagement, not just from thought. The act of moving toward a clear target, even if it's not the final one, is what creates the momentum for self-improvement. You will learn more about what you truly want by pursuing a clear goal for 6 months than you will by thinking about it for 6 years. You can always adjust your course later, but you cannot steer a parked car. This clarity statement now becomes the constitution for your life. Every opportunity, every request for your time, every new idea can be measured against it. As this. Move me closer to the world I described on that paper or further away? Now that is how you think strategically about your own future. This is the difference between a life of deliberate creation and a life of random reaction. You now have your target. The blindfold is off. It's time to aim. Reverse engineering success, the art of strategic planning. Ask someone how they plan to achieve a great goal. They'll almost always start from today. They'll describe the first few steps they might take, hoping the path will reveal itself. As they go, it's like starting a road trip with a full tank of gas, but no map, just a vague direction. This is not a strategy. It is a recipe for getting lost. A master architect would never build a skyscraper this way. They don't start by digging a random hole and hoping for the best. They begin with a crystal-clear, detailed blueprint of the finished structure. They know every floor, every window, every system before a single shovel hits the dirt. They work backward from that vision to create the plan. This is reverse engineering. And it is the most powerful and effective method for strategic planning you will ever learn. The traditional forward-thinking approach is flawed because it's easily derailed by the fog of the immediate. You get distracted by small tasks. You lose momentum. You question if you're even on the right path. But when you plan backward, you are guided by the certainty of your destination. This is the essence of how to think strategically. Here is the blueprint for reverse engineering your own success. Step 1. Define your destination in high resolution. As we learned, clarity is power, but for this exercise, you must go deeper. Don't just state your goal. Visualize it as a finished reality. If your goal is financial freedom, what is the exact number in your bank account? What does the lifestyle it affords you feel like? If your goal is to be a leader in your field, picture yourself giving the keynote speech. Make the end state so real and vivid that it pulls you toward it. This is the anchor of your entire planning process. Step 2. Identify the final milestone. Now, stand in that future reality and ask the most important question in all of strategic thinking. What is the single event that had to happen right before this became true? This is your final milestone to hold your published book. The final milestone was signing the publishing contract to run a successful marathon. The final milestone was completing your final long-distance training run to launch your business. The final milestone was getting your first paying customer. Step 3. Unravel the chain. Link by link, you now have your last step. Repeat the process. What had to happen right before that milestone? And the one before that? And the one before that? Before the publishing contract, you needed a polished manuscript. Before the manuscript, you needed a completed first draft. Before the first draft, you needed a detailed outline. Before the outline, you needed a daily writing habit. Suddenly, your intimidating mountain of a goal has been transformed into a simple, logical staircase of steps. You are no longer guessing what to do next. The blueprint tells you. This is the art of building a real strategy, not just a wish list. It transforms your grand vision into a practical, actionable life strategy. This is the secret to achieving goals. It's not about having more willpower. It's about having a smarter plan. Stop staring at the mountain. Start building the staircase. But a blueprint is only useful if it's translated into a construction schedule. Now that you have your staircase of milestones, you must complete the final, crucial step of this strategic planning process. Step 4. Assign a timeline and identify the first action. Take your chain of milestones, which you have just unraveled backward from your destination, and now work forward. You will attach a realistic deadline to each one. Daily writing habit. Start tomorrow. Detailed outline. Complete in 2 weeks. Completed first draft. Complete in 6 months. Polished manuscript. Complete in 9 months. And so on, all the way to your final. This timeline does 2 critical things. First, it injects a sense of urgency and accountability into your plan. A goal without a deadline is a daydream. Second, it makes the entire project feel real and manageable. It's no longer an abstract wish. It's a series of scheduled appointments with your future success. This is how you think strategically about time itself, treating it as a valuable resource to be allocated with purpose. Now, look at your staircase. All those steps, all those deadlines. It can still feel a bit daunting. So, we simplify it even further. Your focus is not on the entire staircase. Your focus is only ever on one thing, the very first step. In our example, the first step is start a daily writing habit tomorrow. That's it. That is your entire world right now. Not the book deal, not the finished manuscript, just the simple action of sitting down to write tomorrow. This is the profound psychological power of reverse engineering. It takes a massive, intimidating goal that could easily lead to overwhelm and paralysis, and it breaks it down into a single, non-threatening, immediately actionable first step. This is a core discipline of personal development because it is designed to create momentum. And momentum is the lifeblood of any long-term endeavor. Your homework from this chapter is simple. Take the clarity statement you created. Pick one major goal from it and build its staircase. Reverse engineer it from the finish line all the way back to the single first action you can take in the next 24 hours. This is the difference between dreaming about the future and building it. The amateur hopes for a path to appear. The strategist builds a bridge. Your bridge is now designed. It's time to take the first step across. Outcome-driven priorities for achieving goals. Your calendar is full. Your to-do list is a mile long, overflowing with tasks that all scream urgent. You spend your days sprinting from one fire to the next, crossing things off, feeling busy, productive, and utterly exhausted. At the end of the week, you look back and ask the terrifying question, but am I any closer to what I actually want? This is the most dangerous trap in all of personal development, the illusion of progress. We are conditioned to worship activity, to believe that a full schedule equals a life of purpose. But a rocking horse is in constant motion, and it never goes anywhere. This is where we separate the amateur from the master of strategic thinking. The amateur asks, "What do I have to do today?" The strategist asks, "What outcome do I need to create today?" This is the essence of setting out outcome-driven priorities. It's a ruthless filter that elevates your planning from a simple list of tasks to a high-impact strategy for achieving goals. It's the core of a genuine success mindset. Not all tasks are created equal. Some are worth $1 and some are worth 1,000. The tragedy is that most people spend their lives on the $1 tasks because they feel easier and offer a quick hit of accomplishment. Here is the tool to fix this, starting now. I call it the outcome filter. Before you commit your time or energy to any task, you must run it through this simple, powerful question. Will this action directly and measurably move me closer to my primary goal? Let's watch this filter work its magic. Imagine your primary goal is to launch a successful side business task. Spend 3 hours designing the perfect logo. Outcome filter. Does this directly get me a paying customer? No, it's a loom-packed. $1 task. Call 5 potential clients and ask them about their biggest problems. Outcome filter. Does this directly move me toward making a sale and validating my idea? Absolutely. This is a high-impact $1,000 task. This is how to think strategically about your time. You stop being a doer of things and become an architect of outcomes. This requires mental toughness because it means you must learn to say no. You will have to say no to distracting opportunities, to loom-packed requests, and even to your own desire to work on the easy, comfortable tasks. A strategic no is one of the most productive tools you will ever wield. Stop measuring your day by the number of items you crossed off your list. That is the metric of the busy. Start measuring it by one thing and one thing only: how much closer you are to your finish line. That is the metric of the effective.
Yeah.
That is the only life. A strategy that guarantees you will win in life. To take this from a concept to a daily habit, let's introduce a more structured system for your planning. This is the 1-3-5 rule. It's a simple framework for organizing your day around outcome-driven priorities. Each day, your goal is not to fill your schedule, but to consciously choose to accomplish one major $1,000 task that directly propels you toward your primary goal. 3 medium impact tasks that support your progress. 5 small necessary tasks, the $1 items like answering certain emails or running errands. This structure forces you to practice strategic thinking at the start of every single day. Before you get pulled into the whirlwind of other people's priorities, you must pause and ask yourself, what is my one big thing for today? This one task becomes the centerpiece of your day. It's the thing you protect your time and energy for. It is the action that, if you do nothing else, will still make the day a win. Let's use our side business example again. A day structured with. The 1-3-5 rule might look like this. 1 major task, call 5 potential clients. This is the $1,000 outcome. 3 medium tasks, write a draft of a marketing email. Research 1 competitor, outline a social media post. 5 small tasks, answer urgent emails. Schedule a meeting, pay a bill, order supplies. Update a spreadsheet. This method gives you the psychological satisfaction of crossing off smaller items, while ensuring that your most valuable energy is always reserved for the tasks that truly matter. It is a system for embedding your strategy into your daily routine. This will require you to become comfortable with a new feeling, the feeling of productive incompletion. You will end some days with unchecked boxes on your to-do list. The amateur mind sees this as failure. The strategic's mindset, however, knows that you intentionally let the $1 tasks slide in order to land the $1,000 outcome. This is a core discipline of leadership, allocating resources, in this case, your time and focus, to where they will have the greatest impact. So, your action plan is this. Tomorrow morning, before you check your email, before you look at your phone, define your 1-3-5 for the day, write it down. Make that one major task your first priority. This is how you stop being a servant to your schedule, become the master of your outcomes. This is how you escape the trap of being busy and start the real work of building your future. Information is ammunition. Better inputs for better problems. Solve Any. General sending his army into battle without a map, without knowing the enemy's strength, and without understanding the terrain would be a suicide mission, a reckless gamble based on hope and ego. Yet, every single day, millions of people charge into their most important challenges, career moves, financial investments, difficult conversations with exactly that level of blindness. This is the cardinal sign of amateur problem solving. They confuse action with progress, moving forward without direction. But a master of strategic thinking knows a fundamental truth. Information is ammunition. You do not fire until you can see the target. Superior decision-making is not born from luck or gut instinct alone. It is forged from superior information. But in an age of information overload, the challenge isn't finding data. It's finding the right data. Your ability to filter the signal from the noise is a crucial strategic thinking skill. To ensure your mind is loaded with high-caliber ammunition and not useless blanks, must use the Strategist's intelligence filter. Run every piece of potential information through these 3 non-negotiable checks. 1. Is it relevant? Does this piece of data directly help me make this specific decision or solve this specific problem right now? The internet is a universe of interesting rabbit holes designed to waste your time. Relevance is your first line of defense against distraction. If it doesn't help you aim, it's just noise. Point 2. Is it timely? Is this advice from today's world or yesterday's? A business. A strategy that worked 5 years ago may be obsolete today. An investment tip from last month may be worthless now. The world moves fast. Strategist bases their moves on the current state of the battlefield, not an old map. 3. Is it credible? Who is the source of this information? Do they have real-world experience and a track record of success, or just a loud opinion? Learning from the wrong people is more dangerous than not learning at all. This is critical thinking and action questioning. The source before you ever accept the information. But let's address the 2 great traps. The first is acting with too little information, the reckless gamble. The second is waiting for perfect information, what we call analysis paralysis. A strategist avoids both. Your goal is not to know everything. That is impossible. Your goal is to achieve minimum viable knowledge, the precise amount of intelligence needed to make a confident, calculated move. It's the 80-20th rule of information. Find the 20% of facts that will give you 80% of the clarity you need to act. Stop making your life harder by guessing. A winning life strategy is built on insight, not impulse. Do your reconnaissance. Filter your intelligence. Aim with precision. This is the difference between firing blindly into the dark and hitting your target with a single, perfectly aimed shot. So, how do you conduct this reconnaissance mission effectively without getting lost in the forest of information? You need a structured approach for both gathering and processing your intelligence. For gathering information, use the rule of 3 sources. Never rely on a single source of information, no matter how credible it seems. For any significant decision, seek out at least 3 distinct and diverse perspectives. The expert source. This is the data-driven, authoritative voice. It could be a well-researched book, an industry report, or a proven expert in the field. This provides the foundation of facts. The experiential source. Find someone who has actually done what you are trying to do. This is your mentor, your peer, or someone you can interview. They provide the ground truth, the how it really works wisdom that you will never find in a textbook. This is invaluable for your personal development. The devil's advocate source. Actively seek out a credible source that holds the opposite view. If you are excited about a new investment, read a well-reasoned article about its risks. If you are committed to a certain business strategy, talk to a smart person who thinks it will fail. This practice is a powerful stress test for your own ideas. It strengthens your argument if you can defend it, or saves you from a massive mistake. If you can't, this is advanced critical thinking. This rule of 3 sources gives you a more robust and nuanced understanding than any single source ever could. For processing information, ask, what's the implication? Facts are just raw material. Insight is the finished product. Strategists never stops at the what. They always push forward to the so what fact. The latest report says my industry is projected to shrink by 5% next year. The implication. This means competition will increase for a smaller pool of customers. I need to focus my strategy on differentiation and customer retention rather than aggressive acquisition. For every piece of key information you gather, train yourself to ask that simple, powerful follow-up question. What is the strategic implication of this for me? This habit is what transforms you from a collector of trivia into a creator of strategy. It turns information from a passive asset into active ammunition. This entire process filtering, gathering from multiple sources, and translating facts into implications is what separates a professional strategist from an amateur. The amateur is armed with opinions and hopes. You will be armed with a clear, well-supported, and actionable understanding of the battlefield. And in any contest, the side with the superior intelligence always has the upper hand. Avoiding analysis paralysis with critical thinking and problem-solving. Graveyard of great ideas is not a battlefield strewn with failures, but a library filled with unlaunched plans. It is the quiet, crippling trap of analysis paralysis. The state of being so lost in research and contemplation that you never actually make a move. It feels like diligent planning, like responsible preparation. But it is the enemy of all real strategic thinking. Why do we fall into this trap? The answer is fear. Fear of being wrong. Fear of failure. Fear of imperfection. We tell ourselves we just need one more piece of data, but what we're really seeking is the impossible, a guarantee. But a strategist knows that guarantees don't exist. The pursuit of certainty is the fastest path to inaction. This is where your critical thinking and problem-solving skills must evolve. They are not just for gathering data. They are for deciding when you have enough data to act. A master strategist's decision-making is not based on certainty, but on calculated probability. This shift in mindset is essential for self-improvement. Here are 3 strategic tools to shatter analysis paralysis and get you back in motion. 1. The 70% rule. Jeff Bezos, one of the greatest strategic thinkers of our time, famously said that most decisions should be made with around 70% of the information you wish you had. If you wait for 90%, in most cases, you're probably going to be too late. A good strategy executed now is infinitely better than a perfect strategy executed too late. 70% is the green light, gives you enough confidence to move, while leaving room to adapt to the Reversibility Framework. Your critical thinking must differentiate between two types of decisions. Type 1, reversible. These are two-way doors. You can walk through, and if you don't like what you see, you can walk back out with little permanent damage. Trying a new marketing slogan, testing a new daily routine, choosing a restaurant for dinner. Type 2, irreversible. These are one-way doors. Once you go through, there's no going back. Selling your company, having a child, making a major ethical compromise. Analysis paralysis is often caused by treating Type 1 decisions with the gravity of Type 2 decisions. Learn to identify the two-way doors and walk through them quickly. Speed up your reversible decisions to conserve your mental energy for the few that are truly irreversible. This is a core tenet of an effective life strategy. 3. Set a decision. Deadline. Clarity loves a clock. If you find yourself endlessly circling a problem, impose a hard deadline. I will gather information until Friday at 5 p.m., and then I will make a decision. This simple act of planning forces your mind to focus on what truly matters. It transforms your endless research into a focused intelligence-gathering mission. With a clear objective, remember the strategist's creed. Motion creates data. Action provides feedback that no amount of research ever can. Your greatest learning will not come from one more article or one more book. It will come from the results of your next move. The battlefield, not the library, is where a strategy is proven to further arm you against this trap. Let's add a fourth tool to your arsenal. This one is designed to shrink the perceived risk of taking action. It's making it easier to move forward. For the smallest viable experiment, often analysis paralysis stems from thinking that your next move has to be a giant all-or-nothing leap. A master of strategic thinking rarely makes giant leaps. Instead, they run a series of small, low-cost experiments. Before you launch the entire business, can you sell the product to just one person? Before you commit to a new career path, can you do a small freelance project in that field? Before you rewrite the entire company policy, can you test the new approach with a single team for 1 week? Ask yourself this question. What is the smallest, fastest, and cheapest way I can test my core assumption? This approach is a cornerstone of agile problem solving. It does two things beautifully. It dramatically lowers the stakes, the fear. A failure diminishes when the failure is just the outcome of a small and expensive test. It provides real-world data, fast. A small experiment gives you concrete, undeniable feedback from reality, which is infinitely more valuable than 1,000 theoretical assumptions. This is a fundamental shift in your personal development. You stop seeing your ideas as precious, fragile things that must be protected and perfected in isolation. Instead, you see them as hypotheses that must be exposed to the real world as quickly as possible to see if they survive. Finally, let's address the underlying mindset. To truly conquer analysis paralysis, you must adopt the identity of a scientist, not a sage. The sage believes they must have all the answers before they speak. Their ego is tied to being right. Scientists, on the other hand, embraces not knowing. Their job is to form a hypothesis, run an experiment, observe the results, and then form a new, better hypothesis. Their ego is tied to the process of learning, not to being right the first time. Adopt the scientist's mindset. Your plan is not a sacred text. It is your current best hypothesis. Your next action is not a final judgment. It is an experiment. The outcome is not a success or failure, simply data. When you make this shift, the fear that fuels analysis paralysis evaporates. You're no longer trying to predict the future. You're actively creating it. One smart, small, decisive experiment at a time. Seeing the board, a core strategic thinking skill. There are two players in every game. The first is obsessed with their next move, their eyes locked on a single piece, their mind consumed by the immediate threat. The second sees something else. Entirely, the invisible lines of force connecting every piece on the board. The emerging patterns, the future taking shape, 5 moves from now. One is playing checkers. The other is playing chess. This is the difference between reacting to life and mastering it. The ability to see the whole game, not just your corner of it, as a core strategic thinking skill. It is the discipline of zooming out when everyone else is zooming in. While the amateur sees an isolated problem, the strategist sees a system. This shift in perspective is the foundation of elite problem solving and true leadership. Without this skill, you are perpetually stuck in tunnel vision. You solve one issue only to find you've created two more because you never saw how they were connected. You win a small battle, but unknowingly position yourself to lose the war. This is not a winning life strategy. It is a recipe for constant frustration. Developing the ability to see the board involves training your mind in 3 specific ways. 1. You learn to see systems, not just symptoms. The symptom is your team's low morale. The system is the broken communication process, the outdated tools, and the lack of clear goals creating that low morale. A reactive person tries to fix the symptom with a pizza party. Strategic thinker analyzes and redesigns the system. This is how to think strategically about root causes. It's not just surface-level issues too. You learn to connect the dots. A strategist cultivates a wide-angle view of the world. They read outside their industry. They talk to people from different backgrounds. They look for how a shift in technology in one area might create an opportunity in another. While others are stuck in their silos, the strategist is building a mental map of how everything relates. This is where innovation is born, and where a success mindset finds its competitive edge. Point 3. You learn to recognize patterns. When you see the whole board, you begin to recognize recurring patterns in human behavior. In market cycles, in your own habits, pattern recognition is a form of precognition. You see the mistake coming before it happens because you've seen this pattern play out before. You see the opportunity emerging while it's still just a faint signal. This is the ultimate advantage in decision-making. Seeing the board is not a passive observation. It is an active power. It moves you from being a pawn, reacting to the moves of others, to becoming the player who understands the entire game. And the one who sees the game controls it. This is how you position yourself with quiet confidence to win in life. But this skill does not develop by accident. It requires intentional practice. Your mind, by default, is lazy, prefers the simplicity of the immediate, the comfort of the familiar. You must actively train it to zoom out and see the bigger picture. Here are 2 practical exercises to build this muscle. Exercise 1. The second-order thinking drill. Every action has a consequence. That's first-order thinking, and it's where most people stop. A strategist, however, always asks, and what is the consequence of that consequence? This is second-order thinking, and it is a powerful tool for seeing the hidden ripples of your decisions. First-order thinking: if I lower the price of my product, I'll sell more. Simple, obvious second-order thinking: if I lower the price, my competitors might lower theirs too, starting a price war. This could devalue the entire market and erode my profit margins, making it harder to invest in future innovation. Before making any significant decision, force yourself to map out the potential second and even third-order consequences. This practice transforms your decision-making from a simple transaction into a multi-move strategy. It helps you avoid solving one problem by creating a bigger, more complex one down the line. This is advanced problem solving. Exercise 2. The view from the balcony. This is a mental model popularized by negotiation expert William Ury. In any situation, a meeting, an argument, a crisis, imagine you have the ability to leave your own body and float up to a balcony overlooking the scene. From the dance floor, you are caught up in the motion, the emotions, the immediate back and forth. But from the balcony, your perspective shifts. You can see the whole dance floor, not just your partner. You can observe the dynamics between all the players. Who has the power? Who is allied with whom? You can see the patterns emerging. Is the conversation going in circles? Is one person dominating the discussion? You can see the exits and the opportunities that are invisible from ground level. Make it a habit to mentally go to the balcony several times a day. Do it in a low-stakes meeting Do it while watching a political debate on TV. Do it after a tense conversation with a family member. This is a core discipline of leadership because it trains you to detach from the emotional fray and adopt the objective. Panoramic view of the strategist. Developing the ability to see the board is a journey of self-improvement. It requires you to fight your brain's natural tendency toward tunnel vision. But with each successful application of second-order thinking, with each trip to the balcony, the view becomes clearer. The patterns become more obvious. The invisible lines of force become visible. You cease to be just a piece in the game and become the player who sees it all. Connecting the dots? How systems thinking helps you win in life. Ever feel like you're playing a frustrating game of whack-a-mole with your problems? You fix one, and two more pop up in its place. You improve your diet, but your sleep gets worse. You boost sales, but your team burns out. This is the endless cycle of treating symptoms, a sign that you're fighting the effects. It's not the cause. The truth is, the world isn't a collection of separate events. It's a vast, interconnected machine. And if you only see the one broken gear in front of you, you will never understand why the machine keeps failing. This is where systems thinking enters the picture. It is the master key to strategic thinking and the ultimate tool that helps you win in life. Systems thinking is the ability to see the invisible architecture that connects everything. It's moving beyond simple cause and effect and understanding. Feedback loops, ripple effects, and hidden influences. It is the most advanced form of problem solving because it doesn't just fix the problem. It redesigns the system so the problem can't grow back. A genuine success mindset is, at its core, a systems thinking mindset. Here's how you begin connecting the dots and applying this to your own life strategy. 1. Ask, and then what? 3 times. This is the simplest, most powerful tool in your app. Critical thinking arsenal. And before you make a move, don't just consider the immediate consequence. Force yourself to look further down the chain. Move. I'll work late tonight to finish this project. And then what? I'll be tired tomorrow. And then what? I'll probably skip my workout and eat poorly. And then what? My energy and focus for the rest of the week will suffer, making me less effective overall. Suddenly, a productive choice is revealed as a systemic loss. This foresight is a cornerstone of personal development. 2. Identify the feedback loops. A system either reinforces itself a virtuous or vicious cycle or balances itself. Your job is to identify these loops. Vicious cycle. Stress leads to poor sleep, which increases stress, which worsens sleep. Virtuous cycle. Reading a book gives you a new idea, which you apply successfully, which builds your confidence, which motivates you to read another book. True leadership is about intentionally breaking the vicious cycles and amplifying the virtuous ones, both in your own life and in your teams. 3. Find the leverage point. In any system, there is always one point. A single gear, a single rule, a single habit where a small push will create a massive change. This is the leverage point. Donella Meadows, a pioneer of systems thinking, called this the most powerful place to intervene. The amateur tries to push every gear at once. The strategist finds the one gear that turns the entire machine. Stop looking at life as a series of disconnected events. Start seeing the invisible threads, the feedback loops, the systems at play. When you do, you stop being a cog in the machine. You become the one who understands it. And the one who understands the system is the one who can change it to make this tangible. Let's move from theory to practice with a simple but profound exercise. This is the Iceberg Model, a classic tool in systems thinking that helps you look beneath the surface of any problem. Think of any recurring problem in your life at work, your health, and your relationships as the tip of an iceberg. The part that is visible, the event that you see. But 90% of the iceberg's mass is hidden beneath the water. To truly solve the problem, you must dive down. Level 1. The event, the tip of the iceberg. This is what happened. It's the whack-a-mole problem. Example: I missed another deadline. Level 2. The patterns of behavior just below the surface. This is where your critical thinking begins. Ask yourself, what is the recurring pattern here? Has this happened before? Example, this is the third time this quarter I've missed a deadline. I tend to procrastinate on large projects until the last minute. Level 3. The systemic structure is deeper down now. Ask the most important question. What systems or structures are in place that are causing this pattern to repeat? Example, my planning system is just a daily to-do list. I don't break large projects into smaller steps. There are constant interruptions in my workspace. I don't have a clear system for saying no to new requests when my plate is full. Level 4. The mental model's the very bottom of the iceberg. This is the deepest level. What are the core beliefs, assumptions, or mindset that support the entire structure? Example, I have a belief that I work best under pressure. I have a fear of saying no because I don't want to disappoint people. I have a hidden belief that if I don't look busy, I'm not valuable. Do you see the power of this? The amateur tries to fix the problem at level 1. I just need to work harder tonight. But the master of strategic thinking intervenes at level 3 or 4. They don't try to fix the event. They redesign the system or challenge the underlying belief. A leadership move is to create a new project management system, level 3. A profound act of personal development is to address the fear of saying no, level 4. Your action plan from this chapter is to take one recurring problem in your life and run it through the Iceberg Model. Map out the event, the patterns, the systems, and the mental models. The clarity you gain from this single exercise will be astonishing. You will stop fighting symptoms and start addressing the root cause. You will stop playing whack-a-mole and start changing the game itself. Pattern recognition. The secret to a success mindset. What if I told you the future isn't a mystery, but a script that has already been written? The amateur detective sees a crime scene as a collection of random, chaotic clues. The master detective walks in and sees the signature, the familiar pattern that points directly to the culprit. They've seen this type of crime, this type of motive, this type of mistake before. This is pattern recognition. It is the closest thing to a superpower you will ever possess. And it is the secret engine driving a true success mindset. Most people live in a state of perpetual surprise. They are shocked when a project fails after the same early warning signs they ignored last time. They are bewildered when a relationship ends over the same unresolved issue, as they are victims of the predictable, because they never learned to read the patterns. This is not a life strategy, it's a life of reaction. But the master of strategic thinking is a master of patterns. Understand that human behavior, market dynamics, and even their own personal habits run in predictable loops. Thinking is trained not just to solve a problem, but to ask, where have I seen this pattern before? This one question changes everything. It elevates your problem solving from a frantic one-time fix to a strategic intervention. It is the key to how you think strategically. About the future, here is how you cultivate this powerful skill and forge your success. Mindset. 1. Conduct a personal pattern audit. This is the most crucial work of your personal development. Take an honest inventory of your life, your failures. What is the common thread in your biggest setbacks? Do you rush in without enough planning? Do you quit when things get difficult? Do you fail to listen? Find the repeating pattern, as that pattern is your real opponent, your successes. When have you been at your best? What conditions were present? Were you well rested, prepared, collaborating with others? That pattern is your personal formula for how you win in life. 2. Become a student of your domain. Whether your domain is business, art, or relationships, immerse yourself in it. Study the greats. What patterns did they follow? More importantly, study the failures. What patterns did they follow? Leadership is often just the ability to recognize a winning pattern and apply it. While simultaneously spotting and avoiding a losing 1.3, keep a pattern journal. This is a simple but profound habit. At the end of each week, take 10 minutes to reflect. What patterns did you observe? In a team meeting, in a negotiation, in your own thoughts? Writing them down solidifies them in your mind. We'll build a mental library of patterns that will make your decision-making skills incredibly sharp and intuitive. Stop being surprised by the predictable. Stop letting history repeat itself at your expense. Start recognizing the patterns, and you will move from being a character in the story to the one who knows how it ends. That is how you outsmart challenges. That is the foundation of a real success mindset. Once you begin building this mental library of patterns, you can deploy it in two powerful ways: defensively and offensively. Using pattern recognition defensively, the pattern interrupt your negative patterns, procrastination, emotional reactions, self-sabotage, run on autopilot. They are deeply ingrained habits that feel almost impossible to stop once they get started. The key is not to fight the pattern midstream, to interrupt it at the very beginning, before it gains momentum. To do this, you must first identify the trigger, the very first step in the negative. Patterns script that the trigger for your procrastination. Pattern might be the feeling of overwhelm when you look at a large project. The trigger for your angry outburst pattern might be the feeling of being misunderstood. Once you know the trigger, you can create a pattern, interrupt, a pre-planned, conscious action you take the moment the trigger appears. When you feel overwhelmed, the trigger. Your pattern interrupt could be to immediately take out a piece of paper and write down the single, smallest next action, breaking the spell of paralysis. When you feel misunderstood, the trigger. Your pattern interrupt could be to take a deep breath and ask a clarifying question, instead of launching a defense. This is a high-level problem-solving technique for your own behavior. You are using your strategic thinking to outsmart your own worst instincts, using pattern recognition offensively, riding the wave. Just as there are negative patterns to interrupt, there are positive patterns to amplify. When you recognize the early signs of a winning pattern emerging in the market, in your team's morale, in your own creative flow, your job is to ride the wave. This means doubling down your resources, clearing your schedule, and giving that emerging pattern everything it needs to grow. If you notice a particular type of social media post is getting unusual engagement, don't just celebrate it. Analyze the pattern, the topic, the format, the time of day, and immediately create more content that follows that winning formula. If your team has a particularly productive and collaborative week, don't just let it pass. A leadership move is to identify the pattern, what conditions created that success, and then strategically replicate those conditions. This is how you think strategically about opportunity. Amateurs stumble into good luck, Strategist recognizes the pattern of emerging luck and turns it into a deliberate, repeatable strategy. Your ability to recognize patterns is the ultimate unfair advantage. It allows you to sidestep traps that ensnare others and to seize opportunities that others don't even see. It is the closest you will ever come to seeing the future. And it all starts with the simple, powerful act of paying attention. Anticipation. The key to outsmart any challenge. There's a moment in every high-stakes game, whether in a boardroom, a negotiation, or a personal crisis, when one player quietly wins before the final move is even made. There is no grand announcement, no dramatic flourish. It is an invisible shift, born from one supreme advantage. They saw what was coming when everyone else was still looking at what was happening. This is the power of anticipation. It is the master skill that allows you to outsmart any challenge, and it is the absolute pinnacle of strategic thinking. The reactive mind lives in a state of constant surprise. It's thrown off balance by every unexpected event. They are experts at crisis management because their life is a series of crises. But a person with a strategic mindset operates differently. They understand that the future casts a shadow before it arrives, and their job is to read that shadow. This is not about predicting the future. It is about preparing for it. This is how you think strategically at the grandmaster level. Cultivating this foresight is a core discipline of your personal development. Here are the tools to build it. 1. And then what? Cascade. This is the foundational exercise for building. Anticipation. For any significant decision, don't stop at the first-order consequence. Force your mind to cascade forward at least 3 steps. Decision. I'm going to take on this extra project at work. And then what? I'll have less free time for the next 2 months. My workout routine and sleep will likely suffer. Second order, and then what? My energy and focus on my primary projects could decline, potentially damaging my reputation for reliability. Third order, this simple drill transforms your decision-making skills from short-sighted to panoramic. It is proactive problem-solving. 2. The premortem. Killing your project to save it. This is a powerfully counterintuitive leadership tool. Before launching any important initiative, gather your team and say this. Imagine it's 6 months from now, and this project has failed spectacularly. It's a total disaster. Let's spend the next 15 minutes writing the history of why it failed. Instantly, the fear of raising concerns vanishes. People will point out weaknesses in the planning, resource gaps, and potential threats that they would have been too hesitant to mention otherwise. You are anticipating failure in order to prevent it. Point 3. Scenario planning. Having a map for multiple futures. An amateur has one plan. Plan A, a strategist has 3. Plan A, the most likely, your expected path. Plan B, the best case. If you get lucky breaks, how do you capitalize and multiply your success? Plan C, the worst case, if everything goes wrong. What is your escape route? How do you minimize the damage? This builds profound mental toughness. You no longer fear the unknown because you've already visited it in your mind and drafted a map. It's the ultimate life strategy for navigating an uncertain world. Anticipation is the difference between being a victim of the future and its architect. It is the quiet confidence that comes from being prepared, while others are reacting to yesterday's news. You are positioning yourself for tomorrow's reality. This is how you win in life. To sharpen this skill even further, you must learn not just to anticipate events, but to anticipate reactions, especially the reactions of other people. This is a critical leadership skill that turns good plans into unstoppable ones. 4. The if-then planning. Protocol. This is a simple but powerful tool for anticipating human dynamics. For any key interaction and negotiation, a sales pitch, a request for a raise, don't just plan what you are going to say. Plan for how the other person is likely to respond. Create a simple, then chart. If I present my offer and they say the price is too high, then I will respond by focusing on the long-term value and return on investment, not by immediately offering a discount. If I ask for a raise and my boss says the budget is tight, then I will pivot the conversation to non-monetary benefits like professional development opportunities or a more flexible schedule. If I launch this new feature and a key competitor immediately copies it, then my next move will be to announce the next phase of development, highlighting that we are already 2 steps ahead. This is how you think strategically about a conversation. You are playing out the chess match in your head beforehand, preparing your counter moves. This proactive planning prevents you from being caught flat-footed. Your decision-making in the moment will be faster and more effective because you are not inventing a response. You're executing a pre-planned one. Finally, cultivate a scout mindset. Julia Galathay. In her book, The Scout Mindset describes 2 modes of thinking. The soldier, whose job is to defend their existing beliefs at all costs, and the scout, whose job is to go out, see what's really there, and draw as accurate a map as possible. Anticipation requires a scout mindset. You cannot see the future clearly if your vision is clouded by what you want to be true. The scout is relentlessly curious and objective. They are constantly scanning the horizon for signals of change, for weak spots in their own plans, and for emerging opportunities. Make it a part of your weekly routine to be a scout. Spend 30 minutes reading about trends outside your industry. Talk to someone with a completely different political or social viewpoint. Ask your team, what's the one thing we're not seeing? What's the uncomfortable truth we're avoiding? This is a core discipline of self-improvement. It builds the intellectual humility required to see the world as it is, which is the only way to accurately anticipate where it is going. The soldier defends a fixed position until it is overrun. The scout is always moving, always mapping, always 1 step ahead. Scenario planning. A life strategy for an unpredictable world, the amateur sailor plots a single course for a sunny day. They pack only for calm seas and a gentle breeze, their entire plan hinging on the hope of a perfect journey. The master mariner, however, knows the ocean is a wild and unpredictable beast. They plot a course for the sun, but they also have a chart for the storm and a plan for the fog. They're prepared not just for the journey they want, but for the journey they might get. This is the fundamental difference between a fragile wish and a resilient life strategy. You cannot predict the future, but you do not have to be a victim of it. This is the power of scenario planning. Scenario planning is the discipline of creating multiple maps for multiple futures. It is one of the most advanced forms of strategic thinking because it acknowledges a simple truth: the world does not owe you a straight line. This isn't about paranoia or pessimism. It is the cornerstone of a pragmatic success mindset. It is about building a plan so robust that it can withstand the shocks of reality. It's how you think strategically about uncertainty itself. Here is the four-part framework to apply this to your own planning and personal development. 1. Scenario. 1. The expected path, your plan A. This is your baseline, the most probable outcome. Based on your current data, it's the sunny day voyage. You need this plan to be clear, detailed, and actionable. This is the path you will actively work toward every day. 2. Scenario. 2. The upside surprise. The best case. What if you get a lucky break? What if your project gets funded faster? Your product goes viral? Or you get offered a dream opportunity out of the blue? Most people are so focused on preventing failure that they are unprepared for success. How will you capitalize? How will you scale? Having a plan for this prevents you from squandering good fortune. 3. Scenario 3. The inevitable storm, the worst case. If everything that could go wrong does go wrong, what is your move? What is your financial safety net? Your emotional support system? Your escape route? Answering this question before the crisis hits is the ultimate act of building mental toughness. This proactive problem solving removes the terror of the unknown and replaces it with a calm, predetermined action plan. Your decision-making under pressure will be 10 times better because the decision has already been made. 4. Scenario 4. The wild card, the game changer. This is the advanced move. What if the fundamental rules of the game change entirely? New technology emerges, a global pandemic hits, your industry is completely disrupted. This scenario forces you to think about true adaptability. What skills are transferable? What principles are timeless? This broadens your perspective and prepares you to win in life, not just in the current game. By mapping out these potential futures, you transform your relationship with uncertainty. Fear is replaced by preparedness. Anxiety is replaced by agility. You are no longer hoping the weather holds. You are the master mariner, ready for anything the ocean throws at you. Confident that no matter what comes, you have a chart to guide you home. But creating these maps is only the first step. A map is useless if you don't know how to read it, or when to switch from one to another. The next phase of scenario planning is to create signposts and triggers. Step 1. Identify your signposts. For each scenario you've created best case, worst case, and wild card, you need to identify the early warning signs, or signposts, that would tell you that this particular future is becoming more likely. These are the specific, observable metrics or events that act as your navigational buoys. For the best case scenario, what are the signposts? Is it your website traffic doubling 2 months in a row? Is it 3 unsolicited high-profile media mentions? Is it a key competitor suddenly going out of business? For the worst-case scenario, what are the signposts? Is it losing your biggest client? Is it a key supplier raising their prices by 30%? Is it a new piece of legislation being introduced that negatively impacts your industry? For the wildcard scenario, what are the signposts? This is often a major technological breakthrough or a significant cultural shift that you read about in the news. You must be specific. Things get better is not a signpost. Customer acquisition cost drops by 50% is a signpost. Of identifying signposts is a powerful exercise in critical thinking and proactive leadership. Step to define your triggers. A trigger is a predetermined point at which you stop just observing the signposts and start taking action. It's the moment you decide to switch from plan A to plan B or C. A trigger turns your scenario plan from a theoretical document into an active, decision-making tool. Trigger example 1. If our monthly recurring revenue drops below X for 2 consecutive months, the signpost, then we will immediately execute plan. See the worst-case scenario plan, which involves cutting specific operational costs and focusing only on our most profitable clients. Trigger example 2. If we get an inbound investment offer from a top-tier venture capital firm, the signpost, then we will immediately execute plan B, the best-case scenario plan, which involves hiring a lawyer to review the terms and preparing our pitch deck for a full fundraising round. Defining your triggers before you need them is a crucial act of strategic thinking. It removes emotion from the decision. You're no longer panicking in the face of a crisis or getting euphoric in the face of an opportunity. A decision that your calm, rational, strategic self has already made. This combination of scenarios, signposts, and triggers is what creates true resilience. It is the ultimate life strategy for thriving in a world you cannot control. You are no longer just a sailor with a single map hoping for the best. You are the commander of a fleet with a plan for every contingency, ready to navigate any sea. Reading people? The psychological edge of a positive thinking mindset. Every conversation is actually 2 conversations happening at once. The first is the one you hear, the words, the facts, the surface-level discussion. The second is the one you feel, the unspoken fears, the hidden motivations, the emotional currents flowing beneath the surface. Most people only participate in the first conversation. Masters of strategic thinking dominate the second. The ability to read people is the ultimate psychological edge. But this is where most get it wrong. They approach it with a cynical lens, looking for deceit, weakness, and hidden agendas. This is a low-level strategy that breeds mistrust and puts you on the defensive. The true master of leadership and influence combines sharp observation with a powerful and unexpected tool, a positive thinking mindset. This is not about being naive or ignoring red flags. It is about a strategic choice. A positive thinking mindset operates on the assumption that understanding someone's core needs is the fastest path to a solution. It seeks to connect, not just conquer. This is a profound shift in personal development that transforms your ability to navigate human dynamics. It builds the mental toughness to see opportunity for collaboration where others only see conflict. Here is how you develop this psychological edge. 1. Listen for the music. It's not just the lyrics. The lyrics are the words they say. The music is the emotion behind them. Is the tone defensive, hopeful, anxious, confident? Your critical thinking must tune into this emotional frequency. When someone says, "I'm fine with that decision," but their tone is tight and clipped, the music is telling you a different story. The music is where the truth lives. Paying attention to it is a vital decision-making skill in any interaction too. Seek the positive underlying intent. This is the heart of the positive thinking mindset in action. When someone is being difficult, resistant, or aggressive, the reactive mind asks, "What's their problem?" The strategic mind asks a better question. What positive need is this negative behavior trying to meet? The micromanager isn't trying to annoy you. They are likely trying to meet a need for control because they fear failure. The endlessly argumentative colleague isn't trying to fight you. They may be trying to meet a need to feel heard and respected. When you identify the underlying need, you can address that instead of fighting the behavior. This is advanced problem solving and the secret to disarming conflict before it begins. 3. Watch for the mismatch. A person's words, tone, and body language should all tell the same story. When they don't, you have found a critical data point. The most common mismatch is positive words spoken with tense, closed-off body language. This is a signal to probe deeper, to ask more questions, to proceed with caution. It is a key indicator that the two conversations, the spoken and the unspoken, are not in alignment. Reading people is not about becoming a human lie detector. It is about becoming a master of empathy and insight. It is a core component of a success mindset. When you can understand what truly drives the person across from you, you stop reacting to their behavior and start shaping the outcome that is. How you turn any human interaction into an opportunity to win in life. To take this skill to the next level, let's add 2 more advanced techniques to your toolkit. These are designed to not only help you read the situation, but to actively and ethically influence it for a better outcome. For the power of labeling. This technique, popularized by former FBI hostage negotiator Chris Voss, is deceptively simple and incredibly effective. It involves calmly and respectfully verbalizing the music you are hearing. You are essentially holding up a mirror to the other person's emotional state. It seems like you're feeling frustrated with the timeline. It sounds like you're hesitant about this part of the proposal. Looks like you're concerned about how this will affect your team. When you do this, one of 2 magical things happens. If you are right, the other person feels a profound sense of being seen and understood. The tension in the room instantly drops, and they will often elaborate, giving you more information. They'll say, yes, exactly. The problem is, ... If you are wrong, they will gently correct you, which also gives you more information. No, it's not frustration. It's that I'm worried about ... Either way, you gain intelligence and build rapport. This is a master-level communication strategy. 5. The art of the calibrated question. A reactive person makes statements. A strategic person asks questions. But a master of influence asks a specific type of question. A calibrated question. 8. Are open-ended questions that start with what or how. They are designed to make the other person think and problem solve with you. Instead of saying, we can't do that, ask, how can we make this work given our constraints? Instead of saying, your proposal is too expensive, ask, what can we do to get the price into our budget range? These questions subtly transfer the ownership of the problem, turning an adversary into a collaborator. You are no longer fighting against them. You're inviting them to join you in a shared problem-solving mission. This is a core leadership skill that diffuses defensiveness and opens the door to creative solutions. When you combine these 5 techniques, listening to the music, seeking positive intent, watching for mismatches, labeling emotions, and asking calibrated questions, you transform your ability to navigate human interactions. You move beyond simple conversation into the realm of strategic influence. You are no longer just a participant in the discussion. You are the one gently guiding it toward a more productive and positive outcome. This is the psychological edge that truly defines a master of strategic thinking. Timing is strategy, a masterclass on how to think strategically. The lion on the savannah does not chase every gazelle it sees. To do so would be a fatal waste of energy. It waits, it watches, conserves its power, observing the herd, identifying the weak, and calculating the precise moment of maximum advantage. Only then, when the perfect opportunity presents itself, does it strike with explosive, decisive force. This is the most misunderstood and powerful lesson in all of strategic thinking. It's the right move at the wrong time is always the wrong move. Timing is not an element of your strategy, it is the strategy. This chapter is your masterclass on how to think strategically about this invisible force in a world screaming faster. The greatest competitive advantage you can develop is strategic patience. This is not the passive waiting of the hesitant, but the active, coiled patience of the predator. It requires immense mental toughness because it forces you to resist the 2 great enemies of timing. 1. The fool's rush impulse. This is the urge to act on raw emotion, excitement, anger, or fear of missing out. You send the email too soon, launch the product before it's ready, or commit to a plan before you've seen the whole board. It feels like taking action, but it's a failure of decision-making that leads to squandered opportunities too. The analyst's prison paralysis. This is the trap of waiting for the perfect moment that will never come. Get so lost in planning and research that the window of opportunity opens and closes while you're still polishing your plan. This isn't caution. It's fear masquerading as diligence. It's a failure of leadership, especially self-leadership. A true strategist avoids both extremes. They cultivate a success mindset that understands that timing is about recognizing the strategic window, that fleeting moment when conditions align for maximum impact. Here's how you learn to spot it. Look for convergence. The strategic window opens when multiple forces align in your favor. Your personal readiness, your skills, resources, and energy must converge with environmental readiness the markets need. Your team's buying or the other person's receptiveness. Pushing when only one is ready is like trying to strike a match in the rain. Feel for the momentum. Shift. Pay attention to the subtle currents. Is the energy moving toward you or away from you? In a negotiation, this is the moment the other side begins to lean in. In a project, it's when resistance gives way to excitement. A master strategist doesn't create the wave. They feel it forming and learn to ride it. Aim for maximum leverage. The perfect time to act is when the smallest effort will produce the greatest result. This is often at a point of peak tension or peak opportunity. Mastering timing is the highest form of personal development. It's the difference between forcing your will upon the world and moving in harmony with its currents. Amateurs try to break down the door. Masters wait for the moment it unlocks. That is the art. That is the power. That is how you win in life. To develop this intuition for timing, you must become a student of cadence and flow. This is not just a passive skill. It is an analytical one. Here are 2 practical frameworks to train your mind to recognize and act on the right moment: the pacing and leading framework. This comes from the world of influence and communication. But it is a perfect model for timing your actions. Pacing. This is the act of matching the current rhythm. You are not trying to change anything yet. You're building rapport, gathering information, and waiting. In a negotiation, this is the small talk at the beginning. In a project, this is the phase of understanding the current process before you suggest improvements. You are showing that you understand the existing cadence. You're getting in sync. Leading. Once you have successfully paced and are in sync with the environment, you can then begin to lead. You make your move, you introduce your idea, you make your offer, you propose the change. Because you have first matched the rhythm, your attempt to change it is met with far less resistance. It feels like a natural next step, not an abrupt disruption. A common timing mistake is to try to lead without pacing. You burst into a meeting with your big idea without first understanding the room's energy. You ask for a commitment before you've built any rapport. This is the strategic equivalent of trying to ask someone to dance by grabbing their arm from across the room. Pacing first is how you think strategically about building receptiveness. The first mover, BS. Fast follower analysis. Not all situations reward the first person to act. A critical aspect of your decision-making around timing is to determine whether you are in a first mover or fast follower environment. First mover advantage. This exists when being first creates a significant defensible advantage. This is common in technology with network effects like a social media platform, or in branding where you can become synonymous with a new category. Acting fast here is critical. Fast follower advantage. This exists when the first mover has to spend a huge amount of resources educating the market, making mistakes, and building the initial infrastructure. The fast follower can then enter the market, learn from the first mover's expensive mistakes, and create a better, more refined version of the product. Many of the world's most successful companies were not first to market. They were smart followers. Before you rush to be first, pause and conduct this analysis. A key part of your planning is to decide which role is more strategic for your specific situation. Sometimes the most powerful move is to let someone else go first. Mastering timing is a subtle, sophisticated art. It requires you to be both a patient observer and a decisive actor. You must develop the mental toughness to wait when every instinct tells you to move, and the courage to act instantly when the strategic window finally opens. It is a dance with opportunity, and with practice, You will learn to hear the music and master the steps. The power of patience, a key move for personal development in a world that screams for instant results. Patience is the most misunderstood and undervalued weapon in your arsenal of personal development. We mistake it for weakness, for passivity, for a lack of ambition. But what if I told you that true? Strategic patience is one of the most aggressive and powerful moves you can ever make. Think of a seed planted in the earth. To the impatient eye, nothing is happening. Days, then weeks pass with no visible progress. It looks like failure, like stagnation. But beneath the surface, a silent, powerful process of consolidation is underway. Roots are anchoring deep into the soil, gathering nutrients, building a foundation strong enough to support the growth that is to come. This is the essence of strategic patience. It is not empty waiting, it is active preparation. It is a cornerstone of a true success mindset and a non-negotiable requirement for building deep mental toughness. Our society pushes us to act now, to decide now, to show results now. This constant pressure leads to rushed decision-making, half-baked plans, and wasted energy. We launch the business before we understand the market. We demand commitment in a relationship before trust has been built. We abandon the workout plan because we don't see results in the first week. We are constantly pulling our seeds out of the ground to see if they're growing, and in doing so, we kill them. So how do you cultivate this power? You start by changing your lens. Before you act, especially when you feel the pull of impatience, ask yourself this simple question. Is this a weed or a seed? A weed is a genuine, urgent problem that needs to be pulled immediately. It's a fire that needs to be put out, a toxic influence that needs to be removed. Action here is necessary. A seed, however, is a long-term goal. It's your career, your most important relationships, your health, your mastery of a new skill. Seeds cannot be rushed. They require time, nurturing, and the wisdom to let the process unfold. This simple filter is how you think strategically about your own growth. It stops you from applying frantic, short-term energy to your most important long-term goals. While you are patiently letting your seeds grow, you are not idle. You are observing, you are learning, you are gathering resources. You are strengthening your own foundation so that when the moment for growth finally arrives, you are ready to support it. This is the ultimate life strategy. Patience, then, is not the absence of action, but the refinement of it. It is the quiet confidence that your time will come, and when it does, you will be ready. This is the strategy of the wise, the patient, and the ones who ultimately win in life. So what does this active preparation look like in practice? While you are patiently waiting for your seed to sprout, you are engaging in 3 critical activities. This is what separates strategic patience from simple procrastination. 1. You are sharpening the axe. This is the period for dedicated self-improvement. If your long-term goal is to achieve a leadership position, your period of patience is spent mastering the skills of that future role: communication, financial literacy, team management. If your goal is to launch a business, your patient preparation involves deeply researching your market, building a network, and creating a robust business plan. You're not waiting for the opportunity to arrive. You're becoming the person who is worthy of it when it does. This is a core component of your personal development journey too. You are observing the environment. Strategic patience is a state of high alert. You are watching the world around you, looking for the signals that the time for action is getting closer. You are monitoring trends, listening to conversations, and staying informed. You are like the patient lion, not sleeping, but intently, observing the herd, learning its patterns, and waiting for the precise moment of opportunity. This is how you think strategically about your timing, using the waiting period to gather crucial intelligence. 3. You are building your reserves. Every great endeavor requires resources, financial, emotional, and physical. The period of patience is your time to build these reserves. You are saving money, creating a financial cushion that will allow you to take a calculated risk later. You are nurturing your relationships, building a support system that will sustain you through future challenges. You are taking care of your health, building the physical, mental toughness and resilience that will be required when the time for intense action arrives. When you practice patience in this active, strategic way, you transform your relationship with time. It is no longer your enemy, a relentless clock ticking down. It becomes your ally. A valuable period of incubation where you are quietly compounding your strength. The world will tell you that you are falling behind. It will tempt you with shortcuts and quick fixes. Your own impatience will whisper that you need to do something. But your strategic mindset will know the truth. You are not just waiting, you are preparing, you are consolidating, you are becoming stronger. And when your moment arrives, you will not just be ready, you will be unstoppable. Identifying leverage points for smarter decision-making. Imagine you are standing before a giant boulder. It's an obstacle blocking your path. The amateur tries to move it with brute force. They push, they strain, they sweat, pouring every ounce of their energy into the task only to end up exhausted and defeated. The master of strategic thinking, however, doesn't even touch the boulder. Instead, they calmly scan the area, looking for something else entirely. A long, sturdy branch to use as a lever. With a small, calculated push on the end of that lever, they move the boulder with ease. This is the power of leverage. And it is the secret to smarter decision-making. Most people live their lives pushing boulders. They believe that success is directly proportional to the amount of force they apply: more hours, more hustle, more effort. This is the path to burnout, not a winning life strategy. A true success mindset isn't about working harder. It's about finding the leverage points where the smallest input creates the largest output. Identifying these points is a critical skill in your personal development. It is the very essence of how to think strategically. Instead of asking, "How can I work harder on this problem?" you must train yourself to ask a better question. Where is the lever? Here is a 3-part scan you can use to find the leverage points in any area of your life. 1. The 80/20 audit. Find the vital few. The Pareto principle states that, in many cases, roughly 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. Isn't just a business theory, it's a law of nature. Which 20% of your clients generate 80% of your revenue? Which 20% of your daily habits contribute to 80% of your well-being? Which 20% of your relationships bring you 80% of your joy and support? Your first act of leadership of yourself is to identify this vital 20% and double down on it, while ruthlessly minimizing the rest. 2. The root cause, X-ray. Solve the problem before the problem. Leverage isn't just about tasks. It's about problem solving. Instead of constantly dealing with the same recurring issues, the symptoms, a strategist hunts for the single root cause. The symptom, you're always stressed about money. The root cause, you don't have a budget. The symptom, your team keeps missing deadlines. Root cause, the initial planning process is unclear. Fixing the root cause is a high leverage move. It solves not just today's problem, but all the future problems it would have created. 3. The skill multiplier. Identify your force amplifier. Some skills don't just add to your abilities, they multiply them. Mastering public speaking, learning to code, becoming a great writer, or developing deep empathy are all skill multipliers. A single one of these skills can amplify your effectiveness across every area of your life. Investing your time here is one of the highest leverage decisions you can make. Stop pushing the boulder. Start looking for the lever. That is the shift. That separates the busy from the effective, the frustrated from the fulfilled. It is the move that allows you to not just work hard, but to win in life, to sharpen your ability to spot these hidden levers. Let's expand our search into 2 more critical areas: your systems and your mindset. 4. The systemic leverage. Build an engine. A high leverage move is one that, once made, continues to provide value with little additional effort. This is the power of creating systems. A system is an engine you build once that runs for you in the background. Creating a template for a report you have to write every month is a high leverage action. The initial time investment pays you back every single month. Automating your bill. Payments is a high-leverage action. Eliminates a recurring task and prevents late fees, freeing up mental space. Developing a simple, repeatable morning routine is a high-leverage action. It starts your day with intention and eliminates decision fatigue at a critical time. Your planning should not just be about what you will do, but what systems you will build. Every system you create is a lever that frees up your future time and energy for higher value work. This is a core principle of effective self-improvement. 5. The mental model lever. Upgrade your operating system. This is the most powerful and most subtle lever of all. A mental model is the software your brain uses to interpret the world. Upgrading a single mental model can fundamentally change every decision you make thereafter. Shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset is a massive leverage point. With a fixed mindset, challenges are threats to your ego. With a growth mindset, challenges are opportunities to learn and grow. This single shift changes your entire approach to problem solving. Adopting the inversion mental model, where you think about what you want to avoid instead of what you want to achieve, is a powerful tool for risk management and smarter decision making. Instead of asking, "How can I be successful?" you ask, "What are all the foolish things I could do that would guarantee failure?" And then you simply avoid doing them. The questions you ask yourself determine the levers you find. The amateur pushing the boulder asks, "How can I push harder?" The master strategist looking for the lever asks a different set of questions. What is the 20% that is creating 80% of the result? What is the one root cause that is creating all these symptoms? What single skill would make everything else I do more effective? What system can I build to automate this? What belief is holding me back, and what new belief would propel me forward? Make these questions a part of your daily strategic thinking. They are your map to finding the hidden levers all around you. Leverage. The secret to win big in life a massive supertanker. Hundreds of thousands of tons of steel plows through the ocean with unstoppable momentum. The engine driving it is a marvel of engineering, a powerhouse of brute force. But the engine doesn't decide where the ship goes. That job belongs to something much smaller, hidden beneath the waves, the rudder. A small, calculated turn of that rudder changes the course of the entire vessel. This is leverage, and it is the secret that separates those who simply win in life from those who learn to win big in life. Brute force is the strategy of the amateur. They believe that success is a linear equation. More hours, more sweat, more hustle equals more results. They are the ones pushing the boulder rowing against the tide, running the engine at full blast without ever touching the rudder. A strategic mindset, however, operates on a different plane. It doesn't ask, "How can I push harder?" It asks, "Where is the rudder?" This is the core of the art of strategic thinking. Leverage is not about being lazy. It's about being intelligent. It's about designing your effort so that every action is multiplied. It is the ultimate life strategy for achieving goals with elegance and power. Here are the 3 primary rudders you can use to steer your own life. 1. Leverage your mindset. This is your primary lever. A single shift in your core beliefs can change every action you take thereafter. Adopting a mindset that sees challenges as opportunities, not threats, is a high leverage move. Choosing to focus on solutions instead of problems is a high leverage move. The positive thinking and mental toughness cultivated in this strategic thinking audiobook are not just feel-good concepts. They are force multipliers for every other area of your personal development. 2. Leverage your systems. Anything you do, more than once, should have a system. Whether it's a morning routine, a weekly planning session, or an automated workflow for your business's leverage in action. You invest the effort once to design the system, and it pays you back with time and mental energy forever. It automates success, freeing your mind for higher-level problem-solving and leadership. 3. Leverage your relationships. One conversation with the right mentor can save you 10 years of trial and error. One strategic partnership can open doors that you could never force open on your own. Your network is one of the most powerful levers you will ever have. But it must be built on a foundation of giving value first. This isn't about using people. It's about creating synergistic relationships, where 1 + 1 = 10. Stop trying to move the supertanker by pushing against its hull. Find the controls. Find the rudder. Find the leverage. That is the shift that will transform your life from a battle of brute force into a masterpiece of intelligent design. That is how you stop just playing the game. That is how you win big in life. Let's add 2 more powerful rudders to your arsenal. These are often overlooked. They can create disproportionate results when applied with strategic intent. 4. Leverage your tools. We are surrounded by tools that can amplify our abilities, yet most people use only a fraction of their power. A tool used correctly is a direct extension of your will, allowing you to do more, faster, and with greater precision. Technology. Are you using software to automate the repetitive parts of your job? Are you using AI as a brainstorming partner to accelerate your creative process? A single piece of well-chosen technology can save you hundreds of hours a year. Knowledge. A book is one of the most highly leveraged tools ever invented. For a small investment of time and money, you get access to a lifetime of someone else's experience and mistakes. Reading is not a passive activity. It is a high-leverage act of intelligence gathering. Your environment is your workspace designed for focus or for distraction? Is your home set up to support your health goals or to sabotage them? Your physical environment is a tool. Optimizing. It is a high-leverage move. Point 5. Leverage your platform. A platform is anything that allows you to reach many people with a single action. In the digital age, the ability to build a platform is one of the greatest forms of leverage available. Content. Creating valuable content, whether it's a blog, a podcast, a social media account, or a YouTube channel, is building a platform. You create one piece of content, and it can work for you 24/7. Building trust and attracting opportunities while you sleep. Reputation. Your personal brand and reputation are a platform. When people know you as someone who is reliable, skilled, and has integrity, opportunities come to you. You spend less time chasing and more time choosing. This is a core part of a long-term life strategy, the final shift. From addition to multiplication, the brute force mindset is additive. You believe that to get more, you must add more effort. 1 more hour of work gets you 1 more hour of results. The leverage mindset is multiplicative. You are constantly looking for the rudders, the force multipliers, the actions that don't just add, but multiply your results. You ask, what single action can I take today that will make 1,000 future actions easier or unnecessary? This is the central question of the leverage seeker. It is the core of how you think strategically about your own life. It is the shift that allows you to break free from the linear relationship between effort and reward. It is the secret to creating exponential growth. It is how you engineer a life where you not only succeed, but win big. Working smarter. A core principle of the art of strategic thinking. Picture two woodcutters in a forest. The first, driven by pure hustle, swings his axe relentlessly, sweat pouring from his brow. He never stops, believing that sheer effort is the only path to success. The second woodcutter works in focused bursts, but every hour he stops for 10 minutes. The first man scoffs, "Why are you wasting time? I will have chopped far more than you." The second man simply smiles and replies, "I am not wasting time. I am sharpening my axe." At the end of the day, the second woodcutter has a pile of wood twice the size of the first. This is the central parable of strategic thinking. And it reveals a profound truth that is a core principle of the art of strategic thinking. It is not the force of your effort that determines your success, but the sharpness of your approach. Working smarter, not harder, is not a clever catchphrase. It is a fundamental shift in your entire life strategy. It's the conscious decision to move from being the woodcutter with the dull axe to the one who understands that preparation. Planning and intelligence are the ultimate force multipliers. A true success mindset is built on this principle. 2. Work smarter is to wage war on wasted effort. It is a commitment to designing your work, not just doing it. Here are the 3 commandments of this philosophy. 1. The law of impact. Focus on the needle, not the haystack. A smart strategist constantly asks, what is the one activity that, if I do it, will make everything else easier or irrelevant? They are obsessed with impact, not activity. Their to-do list isn't a random collection of tasks. It's a highly curated list of high-leverage moves. This is the essence of effective leadership and is a non-negotiable part of your personal development. 2. The law of systems. Never solve the same problem twice. If you find yourself doing the same repetitive task over and over, you are working with a dull axe. Working smarter means systematizing. Create a template, build a checklist, automate a process. Every system you create is you sharpening your axe. It frees up your most valuable resource, your mental energy, to focus on genuine, high-level problem solving and strategy, rather than getting bogged down in the mundane. This is self-improvement in its most practical form. 3. The law of strategic rest. The pause is productive. The first woodcutter saw rest as a liability. The second saw it as a strategic necessity. Your mind is the same. Constant work dulls your creative edge and cripples your problem-solving abilities. Strategic rest, whether it's a short walk, a period of deep thought, or quality time away from your work, is when your brain connects the dots and finds the brilliant solutions that endless hustle will never reveal. Stop measuring your worth by how busy you are. That is the metric of the exhausted. Start measuring it by the results you produce. That is the metric of the effective. This is more than a tactic. It is the very soul of the art of strategic thinking. To put this philosophy into action, let's add 2 more powerful practices to your smarter working toolkit. These are designed to optimize your focus and eliminate the hidden drains on your energy. For the law of deep work, go narrow to go big. In our hyper-distracted world, the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task is becoming increasingly rare. This skill, which author Cal Newport calls deep work, is the superpower of the modern knowledge worker. Working smarter means creating protected blocks of time for this kind of work. It means being unavailable, time blocking, instead of a simple to-do list. Schedule your most important high-impact tasks directly into your calendar, as if they were unbreakable appointments. A 90-minute block of deep work on Project X is far more likely to get done than a vague item on a list. Eliminate distractions. Turn off your phone notifications. Close your email tab. Let your colleagues know you are in a focus block and cannot be disturbed. The amateur tries to resist temptation. The strategist eliminates it from their environment. 1 hour of uninterrupted deep work is more valuable than 3 hours of fragmented, distracted effort. This is not just a productivity hack. It is a core strategy for producing high-quality, high-value output. By 5. The law of subtraction. Stop doing what doesn't matter. We are obsessed with addition. What new habit can I add? What new project can I start? What new skill can I learn? But often, the smartest move is not addition, but subtraction. A key part of your weekly planning should be to ask yourself, what can I stop doing? Is there a meeting you attend that provides no value? Stop going. Is there a report you create that no one reads? Stop creating it. Is there a commitment you made that is no longer aligned with your goals and is draining your energy? Find a way to gracefully exit it. This is a powerful exercise in critical thinking and requires real mental toughness. It's often harder to stop doing something than to start something new. But every low-impact activity you subtract from your life frees up precious bandwidth for the high-impact activities that truly move the needle. This is the essence of self-improvement through simplification. Working smarter is a mindset that sees your time, energy, and focus as your most precious assets. It refuses to waste them on low-impact work, repetitive tasks, or constant distraction. It is the conscious choice to sharpen the axe before you swing, ensuring that when you do swing, it is with maximum power and precision. Using people, tech, and systems to amplify your strategy, a lone soldier with a rifle has limited power, defined by their personal strength and skill, but a modern commander on a hill overlooking the battlefield wields a different kind of power. Entirely. They have a team of specialists people, advanced communications, and drones tech, and established battle plan systems. They are not stronger than the soldier, they're amplified. This is the next evolution in your journey of strategic thinking. You have learned to master your own mind. Now you will learn to amplify your power by leveraging the forces outside of yourself. A true success mindset recognizes that you are not an island. Your greatest strength is not what you can do alone, but what you can orchestrate. This is the essence of true leadership. This is not about delegation out of laziness. It is about multiplication by design. Here are the 3 great amplifiers of your strategy. 1. The human amplifier. People, this is the most powerful lever you will ever pull. Solitary genius is no match for a coordinated team. Mentors. One 30-minute conversation with someone who has already walked your path can save you 5 years of mistakes. Seeking mentorship is not a sign of weakness. It is a high-leverage act of planning. Collaborators. Partnering with someone who has complementary strengths is the definition of synergy. 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, it can equal 10. And this is advanced problem-solving teams, whether in business or life. Learning to lead and empower others allows you to execute on a scale you could never achieve alone. This is the ultimate test of your personal development too. The digital amplifier. Technology, we live in an age of technological magic, yet most people use it as a tool for distraction, not amplification. A strategist uses it as a cognitive exoskeleton. Automate the mundane. Use technology to automate repetitive task scheduling. Reminders, data entry. Every task you automate liberates your mental energy for genuine strategic thinking and creative work. This is practical self-improvement. AI as a thinking partner. Use AI to brainstorm ideas, summarize complex information, or challenge your own assumptions. It is a powerful tool for accelerating your research and refining your strategy. Organize your world. Use digital tools to build a second brain, a system for capturing ideas, plans, and knowledge. This frees your mind from the burden of remembering everything, allowing it to focus on what matters. Execution. 3. The structural amplifier. Systems. System is a pre-made solution to a recurring problem, as the scaffolding of your success, ensuring consistency and reducing decision fatigue. Morning, evening routines. These are systems for your mind and body, setting the stage for peak performance or effective recovery. Weekly reviews. This is a system for course correction. It's your dedicated time for planning, reviewing progress, and ensuring your actions align with your goals. Standard operating procedures, SOPs. This isn't just for business. Have a personal SOP for how you handle your finances, your health, or difficult conversations. The system turns best practices into default behavior. You are no longer just the soldier in the field, you're the commander on the hill. By intelligently using people, technology, and systems, you don't just add to your power, you multiply it. You stop being the one who does all the work and become the one who architects the victory. This is how you amplify your strategy and truly win in life. To integrate this thinking into your weekly routine, you need a structured way to identify your amplification opportunities. This is the amplification audit, a simple review you can conduct as part of your weekly planning. Look at your goals and your list of tasks for the upcoming week. For each major item, ask yourself these 3 amplifying questions. 1. Who can help me with this? This question fights the default tendency to do everything yourself. Who has solved this problem before that I could ask for advice? Leveraging a mentor who on my team is better at this specific task than I am? Leveraging your team? Who could I partner with to make this bigger and better? Leveraging a collaborator, even if you still end up doing the work yourself? This question forces you into a leadership mindset, one of orchestrating resources rather than just performing tasks. 2. What tool can accelerate this? This question fights the tendency to use outdated or inefficient methods simply out of habit. Is there a piece of software that could automate this repetitive part of the process? Leveraging technology, could I use an AI tool to generate a first draft or summarize this research? Leveraging AI, is there a template or a pre-existing framework I could use instead of starting from scratch? Leveraging tools, this is how you think strategically about your own productivity. It's constantly looking for ways to upgrade your TOOD. Q.3. What system can I build around this? This question fights the tendency to treat every task as a one-off event. It is the cornerstone of sustainable self-improvement. If this is a recurring task, what checklist or SOP can I create so I don't have to reinvent the wheel next time? Leveraging systems, what routine or habit can I establish that would make this goal easier to achieve automatically? Leveraging routines, what a simple process can I design to prevent this problem from happening again? Leveraging proactive problem solving by making the amplification audit a regular part of your strategic thinking process. You fundamentally change your approach to work and life. You move from a doer mindset to a designer mindset. You are no longer just focused on completing the tasks in front of you. You are constantly looking for ways to build a more powerful, efficient, and intelligent engine to drive you toward your goals. This is the difference between working in your life and working on your life. And it is the key to creating exponential, amplified success. Strategic agility, adapting for long-term self-improvement in a storm. The mighty oak tree, a symbol of unyielding strength, cracks and falls. But the slender bamboo, which seems so fragile, bends with the wind, yielding to its force, and when the storm passes, it stands tall once more. The oak had a rigid plan. The bamboo had a resilient strategy. Many people mistake rigidity for discipline. They create a detailed life plan and cling to it with white knuckles, believing that any deviation is a failure of character. But the world is not a straight line. It is a storm of constant change. A rigid plan is a fragile one, destined to break. This is where the master of strategic thinking reveals their true power. They understand that the highest form of discipline is not adherence to a plan, but adaptation to reality. This is strategic agility. It is the art of being fluid in your how while remaining fiercely committed to your why. It is the engine of all meaningful long-term self-improvement. A rigid mindset sees an obstacle as a dead end. An agile mindset sees it as a detour, an unexpected opportunity to find a better path. This is not about abandoning your goals. It is about having the intelligence and mental toughness to navigate around the unforeseen. Here is how you cultivate this essential skill for your personal development. 1. Hold the vision. Loosen the plan. Your ultimate vision, your health, your career ambitions. The person you want to become is your North Star. It is fixed and unwavering. But the map you use to get there? Treat it like a sketch in the sand, ready to be redrawn at a moment's notice. Your planning should be a set of guiding principles, not a rigid set of instructions. This is the balance of leadership, providing a clear direction while allowing for flexibility in the execution too. Relabel failure as feedback. This is where a success mindset truly shines. When a tactic doesn't work, the agile thinker doesn't see failure. They see valuable data. The business launch that flopped isn't a failure. It's market feedback on what your customers don't want. Workout routine you couldn't stick to isn't a failure. It's feedback on what doesn't fit your lifestyle. Every unexpected outcome is a lesson, a piece of intelligence that refines your strategy. This is self-improvement in real time, driven by data, not dogma. 3. Master the OODA Loop. To practice this in the moment, use the OODA Loop, a powerful framework for military strategy for real-time decision-making. Observe what is actually happening. Right now, collect the raw, unbiased facts. Orient. What does this new information mean in the context of my goals? This is the crucial step of analysis. Decide. Based on this new orientation, what is my next best move? Execute decisively, and then immediately begin the loop again. The OODA Loop keeps you in a state of dynamic, intelligent motion. In the end, The path to long-term self-improvement is not a straight highway. It is a winding river. You will encounter bends, rapids, and unexpected currents. Strategic agility is your rudder, allowing you to navigate it all with grace and power, always moving toward your ultimate destination. The inflexible break, the agile endure, and win in life. To make this agility a core part of your operational strategy, you need to build practices that force you to stay flexible and responsive. Here are 2 powerful habits to cultivate. 4. The kill a darling exercise. Every strategist, creator or leader, develops darlings. A favorite idea? A pet. Project a long-held assumption that they are emotionally attached to? These darlings can become dangerous blind spots, making us rigid and resistant to change. Once a quarter, conduct a kill a darling review. Intentionally challenge your most cherished assumptions and plans. Ask yourself and your team these tough questions. If we were starting from scratch today, would we still launch this project?
Oh, what is the single biggest assumption our entire strategy rests on? Ow.
And what if that assumption is wrong? Which of our long-standing beliefs or processes is no longer serving us? This exercise is a powerful act of critical thinking and intellectual honesty. It requires immense mental toughness to kill an idea you love, but it's essential for clearing out the old to make way for the new. It ensures that your strategy is based on current reality, not past sentiment. 5. The practice of prototyping. In public, strategic agility is fueled by rapid feedback. The longer you work on a plan in secret, the more rigid and fragile it becomes. To combat this, adopt a mindset of prototyping in public. This means sharing your ideas early and often, even when they are not perfect. Instead of writing a 50-page business plan in isolation, create a 1-page summary and share it with 5 smart people for feedback. Instead of building a complex piece of software for 6 months, build the simplest possible version, a minimum viable product, and get it into the hands of real users as quickly as possible. Instead of perfecting a presentation until the last minute, do a dry run with a trusted colleague a week in advance. This approach feels vulnerable, but it is incredibly powerful. It accelerates your learning cycle, allows you to course correct quickly, prevents you from investing significant resources in a flawed idea. It is the essence of agile problem solving, strategic. Agility is not a one-time decision. It is a continuous practice. It is the humility to know that your map is not the territory. It is the confidence to adjust your sails when the wind changes. It is the wisdom to understand that in a constantly evolving world, the only losing move is to stand still. Your ability to adapt is not just a part of your strategy, it is the very thing that will keep it alive. Pivoting without panic, a key to leadership and resilience. It's the moment every person dreads. The plan you crafted with meticulous care, the one you bet your time, energy, and ego on, gets hit by a freight train of reality. The market shifts, the client backs out, the funding disappears. It feels like a punch to the gut. In this moment, the vast majority of people do one of 2 things. They freeze in shock, or they flail in panic. But true leadership is not defined by the quality of your plan and calm seas. It is forged in your response to the storm. The ability to pivot without panic is more than a skill. It is the ultimate test of your strategic mindset. It is the very heart of resilience. Panic is the enemy of strategic thinking. It floods your brain with cortisol, shuts down your prefrontal cortex, the home of your decision-making skills, and reduces you to pure reactive instinct. A panicked leader is no leader at all. So how do you face the freight train and not just survive, but pivot with grace and power? You deploy a pre-installed emergency protocol, a calm, 3-step strategy for navigating chaos. Step 1. The strategic pause. Anchor yourself. Your first move is to do nothing. When adrenaline screams act now, your mental toughness must whisper, breathe first. This is not hesitation. It is a deliberate act of control. Take 1 minute. Acknowledge the shock, the fear, the anger. Let the initial emotional wave wash over you without letting it sweep you away. This single minute is the most important investment you will ever make. It creates the space for your rational mind to come back online. 2. Reassess. Become the analyst. With a calmer mind, you now shift from victim to analyst. Your plan is dead. The old map is useless. It is time for objective problem solving. Ask these 3 cold, hard questions. What is actually true right now? Facts only. No emotional stories. What assets and resources do I still have? Your skills, your network, your remaining capital. What is the new landscape? Where is the opportunity? In this new reality, this is not about what you lost. It is about what you have left to work with. This is leadership in its purest form, finding a path when the old one has vanished. 3. Define the next best move, not the perfect move. The goal now is not to create a new grand 5-year plan. The goal is to create forward momentum. What is the single next best action you can take to stabilize the situation or move toward a new opportunity? It might be a phone call. It might be sending an email. It might be gathering your team. The size of the action is irrelevant. Its purpose is to shift your psychology from passive to active, from victim to agent. Pivoting is not a sign of failure. A plan is just a hypothesis. When it breaks, it's not a tragedy. It's learning. It's data. The ability to absorb that data and calmly adjust your course is the hallmark of genuine resilience. Amateurs cling to their plans. Leaders adapt to reality. But a successful pivot involves more than just a new action plan. It requires a mastery of communication and a specific forward-looking mindset. Once you have your next best move, you must execute the final 2 steps of a master-level pivot. Step 4, communicate. Pivot with clarity and confidence. This is where true leadership shines. If you are leading a team, a company, or even just your family, your calm is contagious. But so is your panic. How you frame the pivot will determine whether it is seen as a chaotic retreat or a strategic maneuver. Acknowledge reality. Don't dwell on it. Briefly and honestly acknowledge what happened. The market has shifted, and our original approach is no longer viable. Don't waste time on blame or lengthy postmortems in the immediate moment. Focus on the new direction. Immediately shift the focus to the future. Because of this, we are pivoting. Our new focus will be on X. Here is the first step we are taking. Project confidence in the new plan. Reestablish a sense of control. A pivot creates uncertainty. Your job as a leader is to provide clarity and a sense of agency. Explain the next best move clearly and give people a specific role to play in it. Your communication sets the emotional tone. Pivot communicated with panic creates a culture of fear. A pivot communicated with calm, strategic confidence builds resilience and trust. Step 5. Embrace the beginner's mind. The pivot has forced you into new territory. Your old assumptions are invalid. Your expertise in the old plan may not apply here. The single greatest psychological mistake you can make now is to cling to your old identity as an expert. Instead, you must adopt a beginner's mind. This is a concept from Zen Buddhism that emphasizes approaching a subject with openness, eagerness, and a lack of preconceptions, just as a beginner would be insatiably curious. Ask basic questions. Assume you know nothing. Seek out new information. Read, listen, and learn with an intensity you haven't had in years. Experiment rapidly. As a beginner, you have nothing to lose. Run small tests, get feedback, and learn fast. This mindset shift is a powerful act of personal development. It turns the ego-bruising experience of a failed plan into an exciting opportunity for new learning and growth. It is the final key that unlocks a truly successful pivot, transforming a moment of crisis into a launchpad for your next great success. The ability to pivot without panic is what separates the enduring from the ephemeral. It is the practical application of your mental toughness, your strategic thinking, and your leadership. Storms will come, plans will break, but your ability to pause, reassess, define the next move, communicate with confidence, and embrace a new beginning will make you unbreakable. The OODA Loop, a framework for real-time action and strategic thinking. Imagine you are a fighter pilot in a high-speed dogfight where a single split-second mistake means the difference between victory and oblivion. The world is a blur of motion and threat. How do you possibly make a winning move? You don't have time for a lengthy meeting or a detailed pro-con list. You need a cognitive engine built for speed and clarity. This is the world that gave birth to the OODA Loop, one of the most powerful mental frameworks ever devised. Developed by legendary military strategist and fighter pilot Colonel John Boyd. The OODA Loop is not just a tool for combat. It is a master framework for real-time action and strategic thinking in any field. It is your system for turning chaos into clarity and clarity into decisive action. This is the engine of true resilience. Mastering. This loop is a non-negotiable for modern leadership and is the key to accelerating your personal development. It is a strategy for your mind. The OODA Loop consists of 4 deceptively simple steps that form a rapid, continuous cycle. 1. Observe. Gather the raw data. This is the first crucial step of critical thinking. Must see the situation as it is, not as you want it to be. What are the cold, hard facts? What is happening in your environment right now? Observe without judgment, without story, without emotion. You are simply a sensor, collecting raw intelligence. Point 2. Orient. Make sense of the data. This is the most important step in the entire loop. This is where true strategic thinking happens. Orientation is the process of filtering the observed data through your experience, your knowledge, your culture, and your mindset. You ask, what does this new information mean in the context of my goals? This is where you connect the dots, recognize the patterns, and update your mental map of the world. A superior ability to orient is the single greatest determinant of a success mindset. It is advanced problem solving in real time. 3. Decide. Formulate a hypothesis. Based on your orientation, you make a decision. This is not a final, permanent decree. Think of it as your best hypothesis for the next move. Given what you've observed and how you've oriented, what is the most logical and effective action to take? This is where your decision-making skills are put to the test under pressure.
Ow.
The goal is not perfection. The goal is a good decision, made now for act, execute with commitment. A decision without action is just a thought. You must execute your decision with speed and conviction. This action then changes the environment, creating new information that you must immediately observe, beginning the loop all over again. The genius of the OODA Loop is that it is a cycle. The goal is to cycle through it faster and more effectively than your competition or your problem. When you can observe, orient, decide, and act, while your opponent is still stuck on step 1, you get inside their decision cycle. You are now shaping the environment while they are still reacting to it. This builds profound mental toughness and is how you not only survive, but win in life. This isn't just for pilots. This is for the business leader facing a market shift, the parent dealing with a family crisis, the individual navigating a complex career change. The OODA Loop is your framework for turning chaos into clarity and action into victory. Stop reacting to the world. Start out thinking it, one loop at a time. To truly master this framework, you must work on improving your speed and accuracy at each stage of the loop. Let's break down how to train each component. Improving your observation. The quality of your loop depends entirely on the quality of your initial input. To become a better observer, you must fight against your own biases. Practice red teaming. Actively seek out information that contradicts your existing beliefs. If you think a project is going well, assign someone or yourself the role of finding evidence to the contrary. This forces you to see the whole picture. It's not just the parts that confirm your assumptions. Widen your inputs. Don't just read news from your industry or talk to people who think like you. A key leadership skill is to draw insights from diverse fields. A lesson from biology might solve a business problem. An idea from art might improve your marketing. The more diverse your inputs, the richer your observations will be. improving. Your orientation? This is the most leveraged part of the loop. A small improvement in your ability to orient can have a massive impact on your decisions. Build your mental model library. The software you use to process information is your collection of mental models like systems thinking, the 80/20 rule, or inversion. The more models you have, the more accurately you can orient to a new situation. This is a core part of your ongoing personal development. Deconstruct past events. Take a recent success or failure and run it back through the OODA loop. What did you observe? How did you orient? Why did you decide what you did? This after-action review refines your orientation process for the future, improving your decision. The key to better, faster decisions under pressure is to reduce the number of choices you have to make in the moment. Use heuristics and principles, predefine your rules of engagement. For example, a personal principle might be never trade long-term reputation for a short-term gain. When a decision comes up, you don't have to debate it from scratch. You just apply your principle. This is how you think strategically about your own values. Visualize scenarios. As we've discussed, scenario planning is a way of pre-making decisions. By thinking through potential futures in advance, you have already done the hard cognitive work. When one of those futures arrives, the decision is already loaded and ready to be executed. Improving your action, the goal here is to reduce the friction between decision and execution. Embrace imperfect action. A good plan executed violently now is better than a perfect plan next week. Overcome the fear of imperfection. Your action will generate new feedback that will allow you to orient and adjust. Focus. On the first step, don't get bogged down by the entire plan. Once you decide, focus all your energy on executing the single immediate next action. This creates momentum. By consciously working to improve each of these 4 stages, you are doing more than just learning a framework. You are building a high-speed, high-clarity cognitive engine. You are training yourself to be a master of real-time strategy, capable of thriving in the very chaos that paralyzes others. Psychological warfare, outsmarting through influence and a strong mindset. Most decisive battles are not fought on a physical battlefield, but in the 6 inches of space between a person's ears. This is the realm of psychological warfare. The cynical manipulation you see in movies, but the high art of outsmarting through influence and a strong mindset. It is the ultimate expression of strategic thinking. Amateurs try to win through brute force looter arguments, bigger budgets, more aggressive tactics. But masters of strategy understand a profound truth. True power is not the ability to force an outcome, but the ability to make others want the outcome you desire. It is the art of shaping thoughts, guiding emotions, and inspiring action without ever firing a shot. This is not about deceit. It is about deep insight into human nature. And your greatest weapon in this arena is not a clever tactic, but a specific and powerful mindset. This is a core component of your personal development and the foundation of genuine leadership. Here are the 3 pillars of this psychological edge. 1. The pillar of empathy. See their world. Before you can influence anyone, you must first understand them on a level they don't even understand themselves. This requires more than just listening. It requires radical empathy. The question of fear. What is the unspoken fear driving their position? Fear of looking foolish? Fear of losing control? Fear of change? It's the question of desire. What is the core positive desire they are trying to fulfill? The need for respect? Security? Significance? When you can see the world through their fears and desires, you can frame your ideas not as a threat but as a solution to their unspoken needs. This is the most effective form of problem solving in any human. Interaction point 2. The pillar of composure. Master your own state. The person who remains calm under pressure controls the entire dynamic. Your strong mindset is your armor. When others become emotional, you become analytical. When they raise their voice, you lower yours. This composure is not passive. It is a powerful broadcast of mental toughness and confidence. It creates a vacuum of stability that naturally draws others in. Your calm becomes their anchor, and they will unconsciously look to you for leadership. This is a success mindset in action. 3. The pillar of strategic communication. Frame the narrative. Facts don't win arguments. Stories do. The person who controls the narrative controls the outcome. Framing, you can frame a cost as an investment. You can frame a difficult change as an opportunity for growth. How you frame a situation dictates how it is perceived. Power of we. Using collaborative language like we and us instead of I and you instantly reframes a confrontation into a partnership. It shifts the dynamic from a battle to a joint problem-solving session, leading with questions instead of making declarations. Ask powerful questions that guide the other person to your desired conclusion on their own. What would happen if we tried X is far more influential than we need to do X. This is the art of psychological warfare, fought not with weapons, but with wisdom. It is the ability to win hearts and minds, not just arguments. It is the highest form of strategy, and it all begins with mastering your own mindset to elevate this skill even further. We must add a fourth crucial pillar to your psychological arsenal. This is the principle that gives your influence both its power and its staying. Power 4. The pillar of reciprocity and consistency. Human beings are wired with two powerful, often unconscious drives. The need to repay debts, reciprocity, and the need to remain consistent with their previous commitments, consistency. A master of strategic thinking understands how to ethically engage these drivers. The law of reciprocity. People feel a deep, psychological obligation to give back to those who have first given to them. This is not about bribery. It's about leading with generosity. Before you ask for anything, give something of value first. Give your time, your attention, a helpful introduction, a piece of useful information, or a sincere compliment. This creates a powerful well of goodwill. When you eventually make a request, it is not seen as a demand, but as the natural continuation of a positive, reciprocal relationship. This is a core part of a long-term life strategy, the law of consistency. Once a person takes a small stand or makes a small commitment, they will feel an internal pressure to behave consistently with that commitment. Your job is to gain small, voluntary, micro-commitments that align with your desired outcome, instead of asking for a huge commitment. Up front, start with a small, easy yes, instead of asking, will you lead this new project? Start with, would you be open to brainstorming some ideas about this project with me for 15 minutes? Once they have committed to brainstorming a small yes, it is much easier to ask them to review a proposal, a slightly bigger yes, and then eventually, to lead the project. This is how you think strategically about building momentum in any negotiation or collaboration. You are not forcing a single large decision. You are guiding a series of small, consistent ones. When you combine these four pillars, sympathy, composure, strategic communication, and reciprocity, consistency, you create a powerful and ethical framework for influence. You are no longer trying to win a zero-sum game. You are engineering a win-win scenario by understanding and aligning with the fundamental drivers of human nature. This is the ultimate expression of a success mindset. It is the recognition that true power does not come from overpowering others, but from empowering them to see the wisdom of your shared path. It is the quiet, confident art of making your way their way. Strategic communication. Lessons from a motivation audiobook. Most people communicate like they're throwing rocks, hoping one will eventually hit the target and make an impact. They dump facts, state their opinions, and make their demands, wondering why no one is listening.
Master of strategic thinking, however, communicates like a locksmith.
They don't try to break the door down. They calmly select the right key, insert it with precision, and unlock the other person's mind. This is the art of strategic communication. And if you want to understand its power, you need only to look at the structure of any effective motivation audiobook. They are not just collections of information. They're masterfully engineered experiences designed to create change. This is a core leadership skill and a vital component of your personal development. A strategy is useless if you cannot communicate it. A vision is worthless if you cannot inspire others to see it. Here are the 3 key lessons from the world of motivation that will transform your communication from noise into influence. 1. The why before the what, the engine of buy. An amateur leader says, "Here's what we need to do." They hand out a to-do list and expect compliance. But a strategic communicator, like a great motivational speaker, always starts with the why. Here is the future we are trying to build. Here is the problem we are going to solve. Here is the reason this matters. The why is the emotional fuel. It gives context, purpose, and meaning to the tasks that follow. A what without a why is a command. A what with a why is a mission. Leading with purpose is the fastest way to get buy-in and is a cornerstone of a success mindset too. Speak to the listeners, WIIFM. What's in it for me? Your message, no matter how brilliant, is being broadcast on a channel the other person may not be tuned into. The ultimate act of problem solving in communication is to stop broadcasting on your favorite channel and start broadcasting on theirs. You must constantly ask, what's in it for me? From their perspective, for the analytical person, frame it in terms of data, efficiency, and logic. For the ambitious person, frame it in terms of opportunity and growth. For the security-focused person, frame it in terms of stability and risk reduction. Tailoring your message is not manipulation, it is respect. It is acknowledging their mindset and meeting them where they are. This is how you think strategically about your audience. Point 3. Paint a vivid picture. Make the future tangible. Facts and figures speak to the mind, but stories and images speak to the soul.
Yeah.
A great motivation audiobook doesn't just tell you to be successful. It makes you feel the sun on your face when you've achieved your goal. It paints a picture of the future, so vivid that you want to step into it. When you communicate your vision, don't just describe the plan, describe the destination. What will it look like? What will it feel like? How will life be better? This turns a dry plan into a compelling shared reality. Strategic communication is not a soft skill. It is the delivery system for your entire strategy. It is the bridge between your vision and its execution. Master this, and you don't just share ideas. Start movements. You don't just manage people, you lead them. And that is how you truly win in life. To further refine your abilities as a master communicator, let's add 2 more essential principles to your toolkit. These are designed to build trust and overcome the natural human resistance to new ideas. 4. The principle of social proof. People follow people. Human beings are social creatures. When we are uncertain, we look to others for cues on how to behave. This is the principle of social proof, and it is a powerful force in communication. A message delivered by a lone voice is often met with skepticism. The same message amplified by others becomes credible. A strategic communicator leverages this ethically. Use testimonials and case studies when presenting a new idea or plan. Don't just present your own argument. Showcase evidence that others have already succeeded with this approach. Company X implemented a similar strategy and saw a 30% increase in productivity. Hey, this is not just data. It is proof that the path is safe and effective. Build a coalition of support before you present a major idea to a large group. Share it with a few key, respected individuals first. Get their buy-in. When you present it to the wider group, you are no longer a lone voice. You can say, "I've discussed this with Sarah and David and they are on board." This instantly lowers resistance for others who respect their judgment. This is how you think strategically about building consensus. Point 5. The principle of clarity and simplicity. The grandma test. Complexity is the enemy of execution. Many people, in an attempt to sound intelligent, use jargon, complex language, and convoluted explanations. This does not impress people. It confuses them. A confused mind always says no. The ultimate test of your communication is what I call the grandma test. Could you explain your strategy, your idea, or your vision to your grandmother, or any intelligent person outside your field in a way that she would understand and find compelling? Eliminate jargon. Translate industry-specific terms into simple. Universal language, use analogies and metaphors, as we did with the locksmith and the rocks. Use simple analogies to make complex ideas. Our Ouda Loop. Focus on the one big idea. What is the single most important thing you want your audience to remember? Structure your entire communication around reinforcing that one point. This is a core discipline of leadership. True intelligence is not the ability to make things sound complicated. It is the ability to make them sound simple. Simplicity creates clarity, clarity creates confidence, confidence inspires action. When you master these 5 principles, leading with why, speaking to their WIIFM, painting a picture using social proof, and prioritizing simplicity, your communication undergoes a radical transformation. You stop being a person who just talks, and you become a person who connects, persuades, and inspires. You become a true strategic communicator. The ethics of influence, a crucial part of your life. Strategies, the tools of influence you are learning, are like a surgeon's scalpel. In the hands of a skilled and ethical surgeon, it can heal, repair, and save a life. In the hands of a mugger, it can wound, threaten, and destroy. The power is not in the tool itself, but in the intent and character of the person who wields it. This is the most important chapter in this entire audiobook, because as your power grows, so does your responsibility. The ethics of influence is not a footnote to your strategic thinking. It is the operating system upon which it must run. It is the moral compass that ensures your life strategies lead not just to victory, but to a legacy of honor. The amateur strategist, driven by a short-sighted mindset, is often tempted by manipulation. They see a shortcut to a yes, a way to win an argument or close a deal through clever tricks, hidden agendas, or emotional pressure. This is not strength. It is a profound weakness. It is a win-lose strategy that plants seeds of resentment and mistrust. A victory won through manipulation is a hollow one, built on a foundation of sand. Destined to crumble, true leadership, and the cornerstone of a sustainable success mindset, is built on a different foundation entirely. Trust, and trust can only be built through ethical influence. Ethical influence is not about weakening your power. It is about refining it into its most potent and enduring form. It is the conscious choice to create win-win scenarios. It respects the autonomy of others, empowering them to make their own choices, rather than tricking them into yours. This is the highest form of personal development. To ensure you are always on the right side of this critical line, you must build an ethical filter into your decision-making skills. Before you attempt to influence anyone, run your strategy through these 3 non-negotiable questions. 1. The transparency test. Would I be comfortable if my true motives and methods were made public? If you have to hide your process, your strategy is flawed. True influence can withstand the light of day. This question forces honesty and integrity into your planning too. The autonomy test. Does this empower the other person to make their own choice, or does it take their choice away? Ethical influence provides clarity, perspective, and new information so someone can make a better choice. Manipulation removes information, adds pressure, or exploits weaknesses to force a specific choice. One is guidance. The other is puppetry. 3. The mutual benefit test. Does this path lead to a shared victory? Master of strategic thinking is always looking for the win-win. They're not interested in a victory that leaves the other party feeling cheated or defeated. They seek solutions that strengthen relationships and build long-term alliances. This is advanced problem-solving. In the end, your reputation is your most valuable asset. It is the sum of all your actions, the echo of your character, a reputation. For integrity and ethical influence becomes your greatest lever, opening doors that manipulation could never budge.
Ow.
It is not just the right way to live. It is the most effective way to win in life. Let's consider the long-term strategic consequences of your choice. The manipulator's path. A strategy of diminishing returns. The manipulator might win today. They might close the deal, win the argument, or get the short-term compliance they crave. But every manipulative act is a withdrawal from their bank account of trust. The person who is manipulated feels it, even if they can't articulate it. They become wary, skeptical, and guarded. The next time the manipulator needs their help or support, the resistance will be higher. Their influence weakens with every successful manipulation. Their relationships become transactional and brittle. They are constantly fighting uphill battles, wondering why people are so difficult to work with, never realizing they created the resistance themselves. This is a losing life strategy, the ethical influencer's path, a strategy of compounding returns. The ethical influencer, on the other hand, makes a deposit into their bank account of trust with every interaction. By being transparent, respecting autonomy, and seeking mutual benefit, they build a reputation for integrity. People learn that engaging with this person is a positive, empowering experience. As a result, something magical happens. Resistance melts away. People come to your conversations with an open mind, assuming positive intent. Doors open proactively. Opportunities start coming to you. People want to work with you, partner with you, and support you. Because they know you are a fair and honorable player. Resilience is magnified. When a crisis hits, a deep well of goodwill is an incredible asset. The people you have treated ethically will be the first to offer their help and give you the benefit of the doubt. This is the ultimate long game. The manipulator wins the battle today and plants the seeds for losing the war tomorrow. The ethical influencer may sometimes move more slowly, but they are building an unstoppable long-term advantage. Their power compounds over time. This is a profound and practical part of your personal development. Your ethics are not separate from your strategy. They are the most powerful part of it. A success mindset built on integrity is unbreakable. Leadership built on trust is magnetic. So, as you go forward with the powerful tools of influence you are learning, remember the surgeon's scalpel. Use it with precision, with care, and with a deep and unwavering commitment to a single principle: to leave every person and every situation better than you found them. That is not just how you become a master strategist. That is how you become a person of honor. And there is no greater victory than that. Execution, turning a plan into real-world results. The world is filled with breathtaking blueprints for magnificent cathedrals that were never built. It is littered with brilliant battle plans for victories that were never won. A perfect strategy, a flawless plan, a vision of stunning clarity. They are all beautiful, seductive, and utterly worthless until you do one thing: execute. This is the final brutal test. This is where the dreamer is separated from the doer, where intention is forged into reality. The execution gap is the vast, unforgiving canyon where most ambition goes to die. People create a masterful plan, but they get overwhelmed by its scale, lose momentum in the day-to-day grind, or get distracted by the next shiny object. But you have learned how to think strategically, and the final act of strategic thinking is to build a bridge across that canyon. Execution isn't about more willpower or raw hustle. It is a strategy in itself. It is the intelligent application of effort. It is the core of a genuine success mindset and the ultimate act of leadership. Here is the three-part engine of unstoppable execution. It's designed for achieving goals in the real world. 1. The brick, not the cathedral. Master the next action. Grand vision is the cathedral. You cannot build it all at once. To even try is to invite paralysis. Your job is to ignore the cathedral and focus on laying the next single brick perfectly. You must translate your high-level strategy into the smallest possible physical action. Don't build a business. Send one email to a potential client. Don't. Write a book. Write 250 words. Don't get in shape. Put on your running shoes and walk out the door. This extreme granularity defeats overwhelm and builds momentum. This is the most practical form of personal development, too. The engine of consistency. Build your systems. Willpower is a sprinter. It's powerful in short bursts but fades quickly. Systems are a marathon runner. They're steady, reliable, and run in the background. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. A system for your time. Your weekly planning session is a system. Time blocking is a system for your energy. Your morning and evening routines are systems, a system for your progress. Checklists and standard operating procedures, SOPs, are systems. Invest your initial energy in building these systems. They are the engine that will drive your execution forward on the days your motivation fails you. This is the essence of sustainable self-improvement. 3. The compass of reality, the feedback loop. Execution without feedback is just flying blind. You must constantly measure your progress against your plan to ensure you are on course. Schedule a weekly review. This is your non-negotiable meeting with yourself. Ask 3 questions. What worked? What didn't? What will I do differently next week? Track key metrics. What are the 1 or 2 numbers that tell you if you're winning? Track them relentlessly. Data provides the clarity you need to make smart adjustments. Be agile. The purpose of feedback is not to judge yourself, but to inform your next move. Be willing to adjust your tactics based on real-world results. A plan in your head is a fantasy. A plan on paper is a possibility. But a plan in action is a force of nature. This is the final step. This is how you turn your brilliant strategy into your lived reality. This is how you win in life. Even with the best engine in place, there will be days when the bridge across the execution gap seems shaky. These are the days when the psychological enemies of execution, procrastination, perfectionism, and fear of judgment, show up to sabotage your progress. A master of execution is not someone who never feels these things. They are someone who has a strategy to defeat them. Defeating procrastination, the 2-minute rule. Procrastination is often just the inertia of inaction. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. The hardest part of any task is getting started. The 2-minute rule, popularized by author James Clear, is a brilliant tactic to overcome this. The rule is simple. When you find yourself avoiding a task, commit to doing just 2 minutes of it. Don't want to write your report? Just open the document and write for 2 minutes. Don't want to go to the gym? Just put on your workout clothes and do 2 minutes of stretching. Don't want to clean the kitchen? Just wash 1 dish for 2 minutes. What happens is magical. First, anyone can do something for 2 minutes, so it breaks the spell of resistance. Second, and more importantly, once you start, inertia begins to work for you. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. Often you'll find that after 2 minutes, you just keep going. This is how you think strategically about your own psychology. Defeating perfectionism. Done is better than perfect. Perfectionism is fear dressed up in fancy clothes. It's the fear of being judged, the fear of not being good enough. It keeps you endlessly tweaking, polishing, and refining. It's preventing you from ever shipping your work. To combat this, you must adopt the mantra of successful creators and entrepreneurs everywhere. Done is better than perfect. This does not mean you should produce sloppy or low-quality work. It means you must recognize the point of diminishing returns. It is a commitment to getting your work out into the world so it can be tested by reality, rather than keeping it locked away in a pristine theoretical state. This is a crucial mindset shift for any form of self-improvement. Defeating fear of judgment, redefine. The audience, the fear of what they will think, is a powerful paralyzer. The problem is that they are often a vague, intimidating, faceless crowd. To defeat this fear, you must redefine your audience. Instead of creating for everyone, create for one person. Think of a single real person who you respect and want to help. Write your article for them, design your product for them, create your art for them. This transforms a terrifying act of public exposure into an intimate act of service for a single individual. It makes the work more focused, more personal, and far less intimidating. Execution is where the rubber meets the road. It is the final and most important discipline in the art of strategic thinking. It is the bridge between the world you imagine and the world you create. Master these principles, defeat these psychological enemies, and there is no plan you cannot execute, no goal you cannot achieve. Building keystone habits. the engine of a self-help audiobook. What if I told you the secret to a total life transformation wasn't 100 different changes, but just one? What if the key to unlocking your full potential wasn't a complex, overwhelming overhaul, but a single, deceptively simple action that you could start today? This is not just a hopeful idea. It is the most powerful and efficient strategy for self-improvement ever discovered. It is the hidden engine inside every effective self-help audiobook. This is the power of a keystone habit. A keystone habit is not just a good habit, it is a master habit. It is a single foundational practice that creates a positive ripple effect, automatically triggering a cascade of other good behaviors in its wake.
8.
It is the first domino that, when tipped, brings down a whole line of others. This is the ultimate leverage point for your personal development. Think about it. The person who starts exercising in the morning, the keystone habit naturally starts eating better, sleeping deeper, and having more energy and focus at work. Person who starts planning their day for 5 minutes each night, the keystone habit feels more in control, procrastinates less, and makes better decisions throughout the following day. This is the secret to achieving goals without burning out. Instead of trying to force dozens of new behaviors with sheer willpower a battle, you will always lose. You focus your energy on installing one single keystone habit. That one habit then does the heavy lifting for you. This is how you think strategically about personal change. It is the core of a sustainable success mindset. So how do you find this master key for your own life? You must conduct a personal search for your highest leverage habit. Ask yourself these questions. The energy test. What one habit, when I do it, gives me a feeling of energy and a small sense of victory? The ripple effect test. What habit could I start that would naturally make it easier to do other positive things? The structure test. What single action could provide an anchor of order and discipline to my day? For many, this could be making your bed every morning, meditating for 5 minutes, journaling, or a daily walk. The action itself is less important than the chain reaction it creates. Building a keystone habit is the most practical form of problem solving for your own life. It addresses the root system of your behavior, not just the individual branches. It builds mental toughness, not through struggle, but through consistent, small wins that build on each other. Stop trying to renovate the entire house at once. Just fix the foundation. Find your keystone habit. Nurture it. Protect it. This is not just another tip. This is the engine. It is the most powerful and elegant life strategy for turning your ambitions into your reality. Find your key. Start your engine. And watch as everything else begins to move. But identifying your keystone habit is only the first part of the strategy. The second and equally crucial part is knowing how to install it successfully into the complex operating system of your life. Willpower alone is not enough. You need a smart, strategic approach based on the science of how habits are actually formed. This is the habit loop, a 3-part neurological process that all habits, good and bad, follow. To build a new keystone habit, you must engineer this loop. Step 1. The cue, the trigger. Every habit is triggered by a cue. It's the signal to your brain to go into automatic mode. For a bad habit like smoking, the cue might be finishing a meal. To build a new habit, you must choose a specific existing cue to attach it to. This is called habit stacking. Don't say, I will meditate for 5 minutes every day. Too vague. Say, after I finish my first cup of coffee in the morning, the cue, I will immediately sit down and meditate for 5 minutes. Don't say, I will plan my next day. Say, after I brush my teeth at night, the cue, I will immediately open my journal and plan my 1, 3, 5, 4 tomorrow. By linking your new keystone habit to an existing automatic behavior, you are hijacking a pre-built neural pathway. This is how you think strategically about your own brain's wiring. Step 2. The routine, the behavior. This is the habit itself. The key here is to make it as easy as possible to start. Your goal in the beginning is not to be a hero, is to be consistent. Start with a 2-minute version of your habit. Meditate for 2 minutes, not 20. Journal for 2 minutes, not For 2 pages, make it ridiculously easy to perform the routine. If your habit is to go for a run, lay out your running clothes the night before. If your habit is to drink a glass of water when you wake up, put a glass on your nightstand before you go to sleep. You are reducing the friction. It's making it more likely that you will follow through when the cue appears. Step 3. The reward, the celebration. This is the most overlooked but most critical part of the loop. The reward is what tells your brain, hey, that routine was worth doing. Let's remember this loop for the future. For a habit to stick, the ending must be satisfying. The reward doesn't have to be big. It can be a simple, immediate act of self-acknowledgement. After you finish your 2-minute meditation, allow yourself to feel a moment of quiet pride. Say to yourself, I did it. I kept the promise to myself. After you finish planning your day, allow yourself to feel the sense of calm and control that comes with it. This small, internal celebration creates a positive feedback loop that solidifies the habit in your brain by consciously designing this 3-part loop cue. Routine, reward, you are doing far more than just trying to build a new habit. You are engaging in an act of high-level personal engineering. You're applying a proven system to your own self-improvement. This is the practical, step-by-step method for installing the engine that will power the rest of your success. Conclusion. Your strategic edge and unforgettable life lessons. We have reached the end of this journey, but it is the beginning of yours. You have been given the map, the compass, and the tools. You have learned how to think strategically, how to build an unbreakable mindset, and how to turn your vision into your reality. The question is no longer what to do, but who you will become. Let's distill this entire audiobook down to its most potent, unforgettable life lessons. These are the pillars of your new identity. First, your greatest power is the pause. In the silent space between a trigger and your response, a new world of possibility is born. Now, this is where you trade reactivity for strategy, chaos for control. Second, clarity is the currency of power. A vague goal is a wish. A clear goal is a destination. Before you take another step, define your finish line with ruthless precision. This is the foundation of all effective planning. Third, you must see the whole board. Stop focusing on your next single move and start seeing the systems, the patterns, and the invisible lines of force that shape the game. This is the essence of true strategic thinking and the key to outsmarting any challenge. Fourth, leverage, not just effort, creates victory. Stop pushing the boulder. Start looking for the lever. Your time, your relationships, your mindset, these are your force multipliers. This is the secret to not just winning, but winning big. And finally, a strategy is worthless without execution. Your discipline to act, to build systems, and to stay agile in the face of reality is the bridge between the person you are, the person you are destined to become. You came to this journey seeking knowledge, but if you have truly listened, you have gained something far more valuable, a strategic edge. This is not just a collection of tactics. It is a fundamental shift in how you see the world. Challenges are no longer threats. They are puzzles to be solved. Obstacles are no longer dead ends. They are data points for a better strategy. Uncertainty is no longer a source of fear. It is an arena for you to demonstrate your mastery. This is your new reality. You now possess a success mindset fortified with mental toughness. You have the decision-making skills of a leader and the problem-solving acumen of a master tactician. Rest is up to you. Take these lessons and live them. Make them a part of your very being. Let them guide your choices, your conversations, and your actions. You are no longer a passenger in your own life. You are the architect. You are the strategist. Now go and build your empire. But as you build, remember this: the art of strategic thinking is not a destination you arrive at, but a path you choose to walk every single day. There will be moments you forget to pause. There will be times you lose clarity. There will be days you feel reactive and short-sighted. This is part of the human condition. Your new power is not in achieving perfection, but in your ability to course-correct with speed and grace. It is the ability to notice when you have fallen back into old patterns and, without judgment, Gently but firmly guide yourself back to the strategic path. This is the ultimate expression of self-improvement and mental toughness the world needs. More strategic thinkers. It needs more people who can rise above the noise, see the bigger picture, and solve complex problems with wisdom and foresight. It needs more leaders who can navigate change with composure and build bridges of understanding through ethical influence. By embarking on this journey, you are not just improving your own life, we're becoming a force for clarity and progress. In a world that desperately needs it, this audiobook has given you a new lens through which to view your life. Look through it often, clean it when it gets dirty. Let it show you the hidden paths, the invisible levers, the boundless potential that has been waiting for you all along. Your strategic edge is now a part of you. It is the quiet confidence in the face of chaos. It is the thoughtful question when others are shouting. It is the patient preparation while others rush. It is your power, and it can never be taken from you. Thank you for investing your most valuable asset, your time and attention, in this journey. The lessons are now yours. The future is unwritten. Go write a masterpiece. Final thoughts on this strategic thinking audiobook. You have not just completed a strategic thinking audiobook. You have installed a new operating system for your mind. The world will still present its challenges, its chaos, its unpredictability, but you will no longer see them the same way. Where others see a problem, you will see a puzzle. Where others feel panic, you will find a pause. Where others see a dead end, you will design a new path. Remember the most fundamental lesson from these pages. Life is not a series of random events you must endure. It is a game of strategy you can learn to master. You now have the rules, the tactics, and the mindset of a grandmaster. You understand how to see the board, anticipate the moves, and position yourself to win in life. This book was the blueprint, the training manual. Now, you are the architect. You are the strategist. The true journey of your personal development begins not with the end of these words, but with your very next decision. The board is yours. The pieces are in motion. Go and make your move. And as you step back into the game, hold this one final thought close. The ultimate aim of all this strategic thinking, all this planning, all this striving for a success mindset, it's not just about achieving external goals. It's not just about winning the promotion, building the business, or accumulating wealth. The ultimate prize is a quality of life. It is the inner peace that comes from knowing you are in control of your own responses. It is the quiet confidence that comes from being prepared for whatever life throws at you. It is the deep satisfaction of living a life of purpose, a life designed by you for you. It is the freedom from the anxiety of the reactive, the chaotic, and the unplanned. The greatest victory you will win with these tools is not over a competitor or an obstacle. It is the victory over your own former self, the one who was ruled by impulse, guided by fear, lost in the fog of uncertainty. You have now been armed with the clarity and the courage to live a life of deliberate, intelligent action. That is the true art of strategy. That is the true definition of winning. Thank you for listening.